Yesterday could not have worked out any better for the Stampeders. With the Elks losing to the Lions, Calgary has clinched a playoff spot. But make no mistake, this team still has something to play for over these final 2 weeks of the regular season, starting tonight with the Argos in town. Calgary's ground game was a force last week, led by the league's leading rusher, Dedrick Mills. The Stamps had a season-high 211 yards on the ground in that huge win over Hamilton. Looking to keep it going against the Argos, and yes, the defending champs are missing out on the playoffs, but a couple players are on milestone watch. Dejon Brissett just 113 yards shy of hitting 1K on the season. Hello and welcome here inside the TSN studio, the second game of our doubleheader to wrap up week 20 in the CFL. Laura Dyken joined alongside Enoch Mwamba and the sharply dressed Milt Stegall. We'll have the full story on that. Oh, we're gonna just hit him right off the top. Yep. No. Again, we'll have the full story on that at the 3-minute warning. Yes. Milt, you've never looked better, my friend.
Yeah, whatever. Continue, please.
All right. The playoff field is all set, so we know the 6 teams that will be vying for this year's Grey Cup. The only thing we know is that Saskatchewan's won the West. Everything else up for grabs. And for Calgary, finally that 4-game losing streak is over. Milt, is this another get-right game for this team, though?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yes, their position as far as playoffs go, they haven't determined that yet. But you still want to go into the playoffs regardless of your position. What's the momentum? You know, they finally got the monkey off their back last week, especially VA with the way he played last week, and you want to continue. You want to have as much momentum going to the playoffs as you can, Enoch.
Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely need the momentum going in. The confidence that you need to build as well comes from that momentum and the wins that hopefully you can grab at the end of the season. But you got this guy right here who's been the most constant beast to this team is Dedrick Mills. I mean, leading the league in rushing this season has been a force for this team. Whenever he was touching the ball throughout the course of the season, he was making things happen. Whether VA was struggling, the offense was struggling, the defense was struggling. Yep. Dedrick Mills was making it happen, and you have to be happy if you're a Calgary fan.
Winning the turnover battle, very important for the Stamps as well. 8-0 when they do that. 0-7 when they do not. We will head to Calgary after this commercial break, and VA getting his troops ready for this one.
Great energy, great execution. Let's get it here. Come on. Get it tight. Believe. 1, 2, 3.
Never gonna have it down. We're all in. Everybody's gonna shout. We're all in. Let them know what we're about. We're all in. Can't keep us out. Can't keep us out. Gonna blow them all away. We're all in. Every play, every breath, got that killer feeling. We're all in.
Robert Pepe of Vancouver, BC. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save On Foods' $1 Million Touchdown to Win. If a kickoff is returned for a TD, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 are returned in this game, you could also win $1 million. Sending lots of luck out to you, Robert, as we say hello now to Rod Smith and Glenn Suter in Calgary.
Thank you, Laura, and welcome to Calgary. The Stampeders now know they have clinched a playoff spot, but still a lot to be decided here in this Week 20 tour of the Wild West. Stamps have 2 games to go. They want to win them both to have a shot at hosting a playoff game up against the Toronto Argonauts team, defending Grey Cup champions, now reduced suits to playing the role of the spoiler. Good return to form for the Stampeders after a 4-game losing streak last week in Hamilton, led by quarterback Vernon Adams.
Yeah, it looks like his game is back. He's 61 yards away from 20,000 in his career, so that's a milestone that is very interesting. We'll watch. He should get early in this one, but yeah, a big win with a balanced attack against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Snapped a 4-game losing skid for Calgary. On the other side, it's evaluation time for Ryan Dinwiddie. He's going to take a long look at Jared Daggy. We probably see Tucker Horn as well. Daggy is 0-2 as a starter, looking for his first win in the CFL.
Second meeting of the season between these two. Ryan Dinwiddie Well, he's made the playoffs every year in the last decade. Last time he missed was 2015. That's 4 years in Toronto, 4 in Calgary. He was with Dave Dickinson with the Stampeders. A lot of success there. And for Dickinson back in the playoffs after missing for the first time in a CFL career as player or coach last year. Argos won the toss. They want the ball. We're underway. McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Janarian Grant has it at the 20. Little move to the left, cuts it up, and a pretty good return on that opening kickoff to get it up to the Argo 39, where we will see Jared Dagey in at quarterback, his second start with the Argos, his third start in his CFL career, had one with Edmonton back in 2023.
Yeah, played in 4 of the last 5 games at different times for Nick Arbuckle, and gets his chance. Had a long talk with him this week about this opportunity. He's really looking to take advantage of this, and he probably gets 3 quarters. Ryan Dinwiddie did say they want to look at Tucker Horn as well in this game.
So a first down. Argos going to work and quickly off to Jake Herslow, their leader in receiving touchdowns. He's had a good year, and a team that has struggled to pick up wins gets 9 yards there, and a second and short coming up.
Now, just to remind everyone, the Toronto Argonauts out of the playoffs, the Calgary Stampeders are still looking to see if they can host the Western semifinal. Still a lot to be determined in that logjam. Winnipeg, BC, and Calgary in the West.
2nd and 1 after that 9-yard pickup. And handing off this time to Deontay McMahon, who works his way up, a first down and more, getting it closer to midfield as we take a look at this Toronto Argonaut offense.
Peter Nicastro, according to Ryan Dinwiddie, has been the most consistent of their offensive linemen. They have gone through a lot of different changes up front. One of the reasons they didn't make the playoffs. And boy, it's been a great season for Kevin Mittal, who, you know, is a guy who leads their team in targets and receptions. Ryan Dinwiddie says, we're just starting.
We welcome viewers on TSN3 joining us as well. We just got started here at McMahon with the Argos and Stamps. The throw is picked up. Adrian Green doing it again. Taking it all the way for the Calgary touchdown. Second pick 6 for Adrian Green this season. His first one came off Nick Arbuckle back in week 2 in Toronto.
Well, and last week when Calgary broke the losing skid with a win in Hamilton, it was Bo Levi Mitchell's very first throw of that game that Adrian Green didn't take it back to the house, but he took it back into the red zone, and just another aggressive play on the football. I think, you know, you're looking at the Calgary Stampeders on defense, you look at their offense, no disrespect to Phil Pott on the other side of the ball, but Adrian Green could be their nominee outstanding Canadian. He's having a year.
4th year at St. Mary's in Halifax, drafted by BC, really finding a home in Calgary. That's his 6th interception of the season. As mentioned, his 2nd interception for a touchdown, 62-yard return off the pick of Jared Dagey.
Now, he missed a lot of time, too, due to injury, and boy, they missed him. The Calgary Stampeders will get to the introductions of their defense with that. That got us right into the end zone to get started, but they're going to play with 2 Canadian corners in this game tonight due to injury.
And that's not a common thing.
No.
Canadians on the corner in a CFL secondary.
You've been doing this shit.
Adrian Green.
St. Mary's getting it done. 6th interception of the season.
Rene Paredes out. Mark Bassett to put it down. And the snap by Jason McGugan. And the point after try is good. And just like that, we haven't seen the Stamps offense at Vernon Adams yet. But they got a 1-touchdown lead early here at McMahon. Stampeders up.
Sometimes the quarterback makes the wrong read, sometimes the quarterback misses a throw, and sometimes it's the receiver that is the issue on an interception. And you can see Ungerer here is the intended target. He can't come out of his break. He slips, and Adrian Green just beats him to the ball, and he is gone.
A 64-yard return on that interception, number 6 in the season for Adrian Green. You talked about the one he had early in Hamilton last week and against the Argos for a touchdown back in week 2. So let's do it again for the Argos kick return here. Janarian Grant has something going, works his way up, and he won't go down until he's past midfield. Finally, Ludwig Choquette in on the tackle there for Calgary, and Green is back on the field.
So let's take a look at this Calgary defense up front. The leader for them has been Clarence Hicks. After the injury to Flo Arimolade, Hicks with 11 sacks on the season. Who is the defensive nominee between Derek Moncrief and Jacob Roberts on the season on defense? And there are two Canadian corners. Delaney Robinson out of the U of R and Adrian Green out of St. Mary's. Can't remember the last time two Canadians started a corner.
Here's Daggy back to work again. Completes it to Herslow, his second catch of the afternoon. And gets it down close to the Stampeder 45.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there has been a time. I can't remember off the top of my head. We've been talking about it with our producer, John Hides, who's an encyclopedia of Canadian
Looking
football.
to find
and we're
out
trying
if this
to
has
figure
happened
out
or how long.
if it's happened before in a regular season game that two Canadians get the start at corners. And Adrian Green's got Calgary started and on the board.
I haven't had many great Canadian corners in the CFL. The name Davis Sanchez comes to mind. Two in the Calgary secondary to be tested by Daggy. If he can get it away, he can't. Charles Wiley throwing him down. And Daggy, who had a rough day in Saskatchewan, took a lot of hits as the helmet come off there as he is sacked, and it's a third down coming up.
Speaking of the Canadian corners, it looks like Daggy wants this goal route up at the top of your screen, and he's going to load up wanting this. It's a double move up top. Adrian Green got that covered, and he ends up looking, and then the pocket collapses on him. So a pick six, and then he covers down that go route.
Toronto is challenging the previous play for roughing the passer. Play will be reviewed.
So Charles Wiley in what would be his fifth quarterback sack, but we'll wait and see what's the result of this challenge. Took him down up high. You did see the helmet come off of Jared Daggy. So we're going to have another look at this. Rough start either way for Daggy and the Argos in a 7-point hole. Ryan did what he is challenging for roughing the passer in this. Charles Wiley grabs him up high, but not by the helmet, even though it comes off. So here's the replay center's decision of referee Justin McInnes.
After review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. Toronto will be charged a timeout.
So not roughing the passer, and it is the fifth sack this season for Charles Wiley. So the field goal unit comes on. This would be a 56-yard try for Liram Hairolau, which is his career high, his season high, 55-60, put down by John Haggerty. Has the leg, and he has two 56-yard kicks this season, and the first points on the board for the Argos, who salvaged something there on their second possession. Another field goal by the league leader in field goal made and attempts, Liram Hairolau.
Let's take a look at the Calgary offense with 7-0 or 7-3 Calgary, and VA hasn't had a series yet, but there he is in his season. As I mentioned, 61 yards away from 20,000 in his career and joining that elite group, looking to get to 10 wins on the season. He's got a 9-6 record this year and has been cleaning up and working on that interceptions. He had 18 touchdowns so far, 14 interceptions. Wants to lower that, better on the interception side.
And he gives it off to the league's leading rusher, Dedrick Mills, going over 1,000 yards for the first time in his career, leading the way. Another look at that Calgary offense.
Yeah, possible rookie nominee, Chris Fortin at center. Their offensive lines had an outstanding season. Rushed into action when there was injuries up front. And Dedrick Mills, the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League, and be the first time ever over 1,000 yards this year, but be the first time in a while that Calgary Stampeder led the league.
And after that Mills carry, it sets up a 2nd and short now. 2nd and 4. Adams settles in. He looks deep left. He wants Dominic Rhymes. Willie Drew's there with him. It goes a bit too far and out of bounds, and it's a 2-and-out coming up here. The punting unit coming on for Calgary.
I've always said as a former defensive player that when a quarterback early in a game goes deep, even if it doesn't work, it sort of plants a seed in the DB's mind that, okay, it was 2nd and 3, and he tried a deep corner route. Let's back up a half step.
We're not afraid to do this.
Yeah.
Look for it again. Well, 54-yard punt by Mark Bassett. The return there by David Ungerer. And coming in for the tackle is Micah Tights. So after that quick Calgary possession, Jared Dagey and the Argo offense coming right on. Again, Dejan Brissett, one of the top targets of the Argos this season. Another good year for Canadian receivers, led again by BC's Justin McInnes. You got Keandre Smith, Nick Dembski over 1,000. Then 2 solid Argo Canadian receivers in Dejan Brissett and Kevin Mittal.
Yeah, and it's Mittal that is most intriguing to me, and just his growth over this season, closing in on 1,000. And you know, when we talked to Ryan Dinwiddie about Mittal, it was, you know, in the route tree, and we talked about this before, the route tree is just basically a tree with all the different routes on it. So quick slant is a 0, and the hitch is a 0, quick slant is a 1, and on the other side, if you're going the other direction, it's even numbers. And that's the route tree all the way down to a go route. And Ryan Dinwiddie was telling us that Mittal is just learning all of the route tree. So we're just scratching the surface on what he's capable of, and led the team in targets and catches.
92 catches on the year coming into this game. Spencer Brown didn't gain anything. 2nd and 10. Dumped off to the fullback, Felix Garagoche. The ex-Ticat puts his head down, pulls his way to a first down for the Argos.
Nice, get your pad level down, the tendency breaker to get it off to your fullback. And be interesting to see how Jared Dagey, first of all, handles the pick 6 and how he tries to come back from that. It's already been a couple of plays. Get a couple of first downs, get the run game going. That's something that hasn't happened for the Argos all season.
A big difference. One of the biggest offensively. You look at it. When they had Kadeem Carey and Dan Adamaboye and Mac Mahan last year. You're right, not running nearly as well. Short pass there to Mittal. So Kevin Mittal picks up his 93rd catch of this season, getting up to the 40, an 8-yard gain to set up a 2nd and short.
So on the route tree for Mittal, this would be like a 1 coming inside. Every offense can use different terminology. So all odd numbers could be inside cuts, all even numbers outside cuts, or the opposite depending on your team. But that would be down low on the route tree. As soon as they get to the entire tree, watch out for this guy.
Got Herslow out to the right. You got Ungerer to the left. And then Mittal and Mackay Polk. And Spencer Brown. He gets hit, and it was kept by Dagey, who passed off that play. So it was the fake to Brown, but Moncrief coming in and hit him hard, and it is complete, but it's still a 3rd down coming up.
This we used to call in the old days a zap technique. So you're going to run the RPO as an offense, and you don't see him yet, but Moncrief's coming, and his responsibility is to zap the running back. That's exactly what he does. Make the quarterback pull it, because you're there so quickly. Look at number 6, get in the backfield, and just eliminate that option for Dagey.
A lot of punishment when you don't even get the football, too, there for Spencer Brown. So they got a punt. It's John Hegarty. Another booming punt for the Aussie. Down inside the 10, a 64-yarder. Kalen Horton on the return. And a flag comes out late after Horton goes down at the Calgary 11. Vernon Adams Jr., good bounce-back game last week in Hamilton. Looking to get the 10th win of the season for Calgary. As we told you off the top, a career milestone looming at 20,000 passing yards for Vernon Adams, but he's got bigger goals. Let's go down and say hello to Tom Gazzola.
Thanks, Rod. Yeah, big goals indeed. 3 for the Stamps team going into this season. VA telling us going into this game tonight that the team wanted to get to 10 wins. They wanted to make the playoffs. That's a check mark already there. And then he wants to win a championship. Those are the 3 goals he's focusing on. He said the playoffs, that's a whole new season. Dave Dickinson saying if his team team gets into the playoffs, they feel like they can win.
And Tom, as you said, they could tick that box. They are in, and they could finish second, third, or fourth. Here we are in the second last weekend. Still so much to be decided in the West.
Yeah, and tonight, if they can finish the Argos off, would be win number 10. He can check that box.
Stay the pace with the BC Lions who won last night. An opening carry. Pick up a 4 for Jalen Philpott on that run.
There's the Toronto Argonaut defense. Derek Parrish leads the front 4 with sacks, with 5 on the season. Go back, and Cameron Judge had an outstanding year, even though the Argos aren't making the playoffs, and led the team in tackles, as did McFadden at that halfback spot. 6 interceptions for him this year.
4-yard gain on first down. Still deep in their zone. Vernon Adams Jr. and the Stampeders from in the end zone, and a short pass underneath. It is caught by Mills. Has the first down. Head down. Still going. Up around the 35 and across it. A great pickup by Diedrich Mills to move the Stamps up and buy some space. A 31-yard gain.
So this is when you know that VA's in a bit of a groove when he goes through his progressions. First of all, he's looking this way to get started. Now he goes back, and now look to the field. Then he goes back, and let's see, where's he going now? Now down the middle. Didn't like what he saw there, so he goes to that 4th progression, check down. Gets it out to Mills. He picks up the first and gets them out of their shadow of their own goalpost.
And gets VA a lot closer to 20,000 yards on his career. Should be hitting that milestone today. He has 30. And on the ground, it's Mills again, breaking a tackle. Finally, Tavares McFadden takes him down in midfield. Back-to-back, solid plays by Diedrich Mills. 17 more yards.
You know, you talk to a lot of guys, a lot of players, but when they're close to milestones, close to like leading the league, and sometimes they'll just pretend to say that, you know, I don't really think about that stuff. Diedrich Mills wants to lead the league in rushing. There's no question about that. We've asked him a few times over the last couple of weeks what it'd mean to him. It'd be pretty special.
Well, James Butler is 40 yards behind coming in, and Mills adding to his totals, and Butler with only 1 game to go for BC. Well, he evades the rush, and Adams down. It's caught. Still going is Dominic Rhymes. 5 touchdown Stampeders. 55 yards, and that puts Vernon Adams over 20,000 yards in his passing career in the CFL.
The play is made because VA got outside of containment from the Argo defense. Parrish is inside, so he gets hooked there, and then linebacker off the edge. It looked like it was Dozier who just took the wrong angle, allowed VA to get outside, and now it's the scramble mode, and you're wrong as a DB if you come up to tackle the quarterback, throw it behind you. If you stay back on your receiver, the quarterback runs. So that's can't be right from the DB's perspective there.
And the 6th receiving touchdown for Dominic Rhymes in his first year with the Stamps, goes over 800 yards receiving on the season. The point after by Paredes. So Calgary got a quick touchdown on defense. Now they have one on offense with Adams, a 55-yarder to Dominic Rhymes.
I believe it was Dozier coming off the edge, but we'll take a look. Yeah, it was, and that's just the incorrect angle. Now the run option for VA is out there. He started the last game against Hamilton with 2 runs out of the passing game that went back into the middle to just show his sense of urgency in their effort to try and snap that losing streak. But he's outside like that, he's dangerous.
How about a big play drive like that? They started at their 3. That was a 4-play drive only for 107 yards and the touchdown. Half the field taken on that play by Rhymes, moving up favorite targets and the most TD catches from Vernon Adams Jr. He's past Justin McInnes now and into 3rd place on the VA board.
Well, in the playoffs, you know, it was about 2 weeks ago, pretty quiet 3 games in a row for Dom Rhymes.
Yeah.
In fact, we talked to VA about it, and he said, yeah, I mean, part of it, and he was taking full responsibility because he was struggling. He said, you know, part of it is my confidence. He talked about it. Some people didn't like that he said that. I thought it was excellent. His teammates would rally around around him, which they have. But if they want to win the cup and go deep into the playoffs, Dom Rhymes got to be a big part of it.
I remember you talking about that a couple of weeks ago. We were watching Calgary play in Vancouver, and Stamps fell behind. They came back, and it was finally Rhymes getting a target and a catch in the fourth quarter that got them close. Janarian Grant again. Third kickoff return already in this game for Grant. Gets it up to about the 39. So the Argos in a deeper hole, and thanks a big part to that man, Dominic Rhymes. 55-yard touchdown catch from Vernon Adams Jr.
Yeah, and defensive football is all about angles. And if you take a bad angle on a great athlete like Vernon Adams, you're in trouble. And now you see Cam Judge, he's between a rock and a hard place. If he comes up, throw it behind him. Not that Cam Judge was responsible to cover Don Rhymes there, but just it puts the entire secondary in a bind.
Now the Argos down 11, 14-3. First and 10, shy of their 40. Jared Dagey. Little fake, he gets hit before he can throw it. Ball does come out. Calgary football. Unless they rule his arm was coming forward, the Stampeders have it. As he heads off, Dagey and the offense off the field, the officials still discuss. He was just in the process of trying to throw the football when he got hit, and it came out. Clarence Hicks.
What a season he is having. So quick when he goes one-on-one on his pass rush moves. That was just an inside move on Brandon Kemp. But it looks like that'll be an incomplete pass. Not a fumble.
Looked like the arm was just going forward for Jared Dagey trying to throw it when Hicks put his hand up. And
so close, though.
Yeah, very. Stamps recovered it, but it looks like it'll still be Argo football.
Last year's
ruling on the previous play is an incomplete pass. It'll be second down.
Last year's Rookie of the Year nominee for Calgary, Clarence Hicks, having a fantastic sophomore season.
Leads the team in sacks with 11 coming into this game.
Well, 4 in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Like two each in the last 2 games. And important games, especially the last one, Hamilton. That was a big win for this Calgary team.
So the Argos catch a break. It's incomplete. It's second and 10. Dagey the offense still on here. Out of the shotgun and looking to the right. Throwing it off right at the first down marker. Metal has another catch. Kevin Metal in his second year out of Laval pushed out of bounds right at midfield.
Now, these two teams faced each other back in week 2 of the season, and Metal sort of set the table for a great season that his quarterback should trust him when in that game he was targeted 6 times and caught all 6. That's a 17-yard gain for number 10.
Just across midfield. The 54, the Stampeders. Dagey looking to the right again. Completes it again. It's under this time. Just inside the Calgary 50. That's as far as he got to about the 49 before he is pushed back. Second down coming up. That's the other Canadian corner we were telling you about. Delaney Robinson out of the University of Regina. On that stop on Unger.
Yeah, playing the boundary, which isn't easy. I mean, that wide field, you have just a little bit more time to react than you do when you're in the boundary. Godfrey Onyeka, by the way, from Wilfrid Laurier, playing halfback into the boundary in this one.
A lot of Canadian content in that secondary. And Dagey, it's deflected off, nearly intercepted. A good play by Herslow to come in and run interference to prevent the pick. Because that looked like it was going to be Calgary football. We get a flag down as well.
Yeah, that's right back in the PI area. Was that contact early? Mentioned the Canadian halfback.
Pass interference, Calgary, number 27. Spot of the foul and an automatic first down.
Godfrey Onyeka leads the team in special teams tackles, and due to injury, he's getting a chance to play here. Herslow is coming in on this, poke on this curl route up at the top, and look at the early contact. There's well before the ball arrives.
And didn't matter. We see the work by Herslow to prevent the Calgary pick. Doesn't matter. Gain of 14. Still Argo football on a first down in the Stamp zone now. Trailing by 11. From the Calgary now it is Deggy. Has time. Running out of it. Loses the ball, too. He goes back to get it. Jalen Hutchins, the big tackle for the Stamps, had knocked it out again. They've been menacing Deggy in this game so far, and Argos are fortunate just to get the ball back.
You know, a big game by Jalen Hutchins will go a long way for this Calgary team because, you know, this is a guy that had such a great start to the season. I mean, he was dominant in the first 4 games of the year. He had 14 defensive tackles, the first 6 games, I should say, and 4 quarterback sacks. Just unstoppable at the beginning. Then he got hurt, only missed 1 game. But since then, he hasn't quite been the same. That's the type of influence we saw early in the season.
He can certainly be a force up front. Those Stamps, the 2nd and 18. Deggy running out of time again. They've got it. Miles Brown this time. Not a sack as he gained a yard, but still just trying to elude all that pressure from Calgary's defensive front. And it's a 3rd down and long coming up.
4 receivers to the field, and that's where the only targets are. The only possible here is that short crosser. Coverage downfield, nowhere for Daggy to go. He wanted something big there. He kept crawling up in the pocket, didn't want to take that crossing route because it was well short of a first down, and ends up getting tackled.
From 50. His last one was good from 56. And no problem here, too. Adding to his totals at 50 plus.
I'm gonna get you out.
Special guest.
Yes. Shania Twain. There she was, just out visiting, I guess, and riding quick 6. Cameo appearance. And you remember the Grey Cup? The halftime act back in 2017 in Ottawa.
Well, she's done Grey Cup twice.
Yeah.
You go back, I don't even know how many years now, to a Grey Cup in Edmonton, 2003. John Hines, our producer, tells me immediately because, yeah, it was back in 2003. That was her first appearance, which was outstanding. And she was top of the charts at the time. And then again in Ottawa.
Yeah, that was a great show. And here she is. No one's expecting that appearance today. She was the parade marshal for the Calgary Stampede, by the way, back in July. That swung out to Jalen Philpott, Brandon Dozier. And speaking of that 2017 Grey Cup.
And how Canadiana was this? I mean, by the way, Edmonton was 2002, but this is Ottawa, and Shania coming out, dog sleds, snow coming down in Ottawa at the Grey Cup, which was an unreal game.
It really was.
And she just nailed it again at halftime and was a special guest here.
And wouldn't you know it, too? They're playing that Grey Cup, Toronto and Calgary.
Yeah.
And a memorable game that I'm sure the Stampeders would just as soon forget. But Shania Twain appearing at that Argo Stampeder game as well. Adams evades the rush of Aaron Casey and then gets rid of it, heading for Mills. It's incomplete, but just good work by Adams just to avoid being sacked. And that's the final play of the opening quarter. An interesting quarter it has been, starting with a big defensive play by Calgary. And the interception for the touchdown by Adrian Green, his 2nd pick 6 of the season to get things started. Stampeders lead for the first 15. Big touchdown by Dominic Ryan to get quick 6 running. The numbers after a quarter. Last night in Winnipeg, Suits, we were watching Winnipeg against the depleted Rider team struggling to get that victory. Stampeders looking sharper with a lot to play for here.
Yeah, well, I mean, they still have a chance to host. We've talked about that. But, yeah, I see the urgency, and I see that defense playing like they did early in the year. They were ranked 6th coming into this game tonight, the defense. Early in the year, they were ranked 1st or 2nd for probably the first half of the season, and that dropped off when they had some injuries. Flo Rimolotti, one of them. But this defense stepping up again last week against Hamilton, and then this week, Jared Daggy's been sacked twice. He's thrown a pick 6 in the first quarter. The defense is flying around with that sense of urgency that you mentioned.
And it has been a 2-and-out for the second time in this game for the Calgary offense, so Mark Bassett will punt it away. But they do start quarter number 2 with the 8-point lead. They have touchdowns on defense and offense, and the Argos have 2 higher allowed field goals. That's your scoring so far. And a low end-over-end punt of 49 yards taken by David Ungerer. And to follow his blocking, he goes the other way. He finds an edge, and he's got something going here. Ungerer. Bassett, the punter, is the one that gets him up at the Argo 49, so a rare punt return return for David Ungerer and puts Toronto in a better place to start.
Yeah, but the Argos haven't had bad field position in that first quarter. I mean, they had a couple of decent returns, got close to midfield on a couple of these drives to start out with, and just this Calgary defense has just not allowed them to gain any traction.
We'll see what happens this time for Daigie in the Argo offense. Last time out, got close enough for a high-reliable field goal. That's a 31-yard return by Ungerer. Here we go on a first down, and quick the sweep to Mittal left side. And cuts the corner, and he picks up about close to 5 yards.
Well, that basically the classified as a running play, which is weird for Toronto and the Argos this year. I mean, you take a look at the stats in the run game, and again, no Kadeem Carey this year. They made a decision to go in a different direction. Deontay McMahon, the starter, Spencer Brown as well. But this team is last in the league, and it's not close. I mean, they are in the basement at around 50 yards a game rushing. So really zero balance with, as a defensive lineman, boy, you love to just pin your ears back.
There we go on second down now. It is caught going up for it. And right around the first down marker is Mackay Polk. Gets his first catch, a 6-yard pickup and a first down for Toronto.
Just becomes one of those games for DB when you play against a team that doesn't want to run the ball or can't. When you play against a team like that, all you're thinking about is sooner or later they're going to throw it in my zone, and I'm going to be ready to try to pad my stats.
So second catch for Polk, had 1 for 1 yard earlier in the game. That's a first down, 4-man rush. Daigie with time, off to the left, going up high to get it is Herslow. Again, right at the first down marker for Jake Herslow. Comes down with the ball.
Well, this is a good football play. Daigie on the drop. He's going to throw a nice ball to the sideline. Herslow comes up with a big catch that he has to elevate to go get, and the coverage was right there by Delaney Robinson. Daigie hasn't had a chance to try and test Robinson at that boundary corner. I'm sure that will happen before the half's over.
And Herslow is going to make it tough for him with catches like that. Nice snag, Herslow, and they're giving him 11 yards for it. Another first down. Inside the 40 are the Argos of the Calgary Stampeders. Down by a score, 8 points. Argos still in this. Blitz coming. Blitz coming. Bailey Devine Scott does get to him. Daigie tried to get away, but he fell to give the sack to Devine Scott. The blitzing safety for the Stampeders coming in and pushing the Argos back.
Kyle Wilson's in there. You see Roberts, and from the right of your screen is going to be where Bailey Devine Scott. This is, I think, 3 starts for Devine Scott, again, due to injuries. I mean, they've been decimated in the back end with injuries, the Calgary Stampeders. Started with Damon Webb at safety, Sheldon Arnold, Lance Robinson at halfback, both injured. Tyler Richardson, Anthony Johnson also injured.
Pushes it back to a 2nd and 22. The short pass there to Spencer Brown, and a good tackle in the open field by Derek Moncrief, who has a few words for Brown after that. Basically, you're not going anywhere. 3rd down coming up here for Toronto.
Derek Moncrief, when you look at his numbers, and one of the ones that jump off the charts is tackles for losses, which to me is just as valuable as a sack. Sack might be more sexy. We talk about it probably more. But a tackle for loss is the same thing. It's just the tailback or whoever, a receiver, has the ball in their hand, and he has 10 and leads the league.
And lo and behold, we have a 58-yard try. Just about 58 from Hyralao, and not this time. Did a couple of booming kicks before, but that's a miss, and Kalen Horton brings it out. Horton is taken down at about the 19, so the career high was 56 for Hyralao and went for one there, but did not work out. And a nice autumn day, but 12 degrees here in Calgary. We'll be back second quarter. Brilliant with the clues, hopeless with the rules. Caitlin Olsen stars in High Potential. All new. That's Tuesdays on CTV and stream next day on Crave. After the missed field goal by Liram Hyralao, Stampeder ball, and still with the 8-point lead. to Dedrick Mills there with Vernon Adams in that Calgary backfield. He gets the ball. Mills again. Had some great carries in this first half and just keeps pulling his way through to another first down. Dedrick Mills, leading rusher right now. He was asked what that would mean to him to finish on top in that stat.
It only pops in my head if somebody mentioned it to me for real. Like as far as like my girl, be like, my fiance, she'll sometimes say, "Hey baby, you're right there," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I get excited." But then again, once my mind goes somewhere else, I really don't think about it as much. I just go out there and do my job.
I think it might mean a thing or two to him to win a rushing title. Well, if he keeps this going, Derek Sluke on the tackle, but that's after he got well into the Argos secondary again. Here comes Dedrick Mills again, adding to his lead, and the rushing total is 18 more yards.
Well, he's going to hit the A-gap here, make himself skinny, and away he goes. This is the A-gap, strong and weak, and he's going to hit the weak side A-gap. Away he goes. Good blocking up front by Chris Fortin. Another big run.
Got 19 yards there. He's 55 on the day, so he's 95 ahead of second place James Butler now. He's still going here, and this time it's Jalen Philpott. Takes that handoff. He works it up to midfield.
Now, James Butler is going to be in a game next week against Saskatchewan that they need to lock up possibly home field advantage. So they have control of the BC Lions. We're going to see James Butler. I'm not sure if we'll see A.J. Ouellette, who didn't play last night. They rested him. Maybe play him in that final game next weekend. The regular season, of course, Winnipeg, Brady Oliveira will play.
Notice all those top rushers in the West Division this year. Good coverage there by Delonte Hood, but it is caught by the rookie, Damian Alford.
Remember Damian Alford early in the year?
Yeah, he had a lot of big plays.
Well, that Saskatchewan game was 150. I think he still holds it. In fact, he does the long catch and run for the Calgary Stampeders at 81 yards in that game against Saskatchewan. It just looked like he couldn't be covered. That's the #1 team in the division. Had himself a game. Then he got hurt the hamstring, and that slowed his progress.
Been a quieter season since then for Moose Alford. #1 pick in the CFL draft in 2025. First down again. Calgary on the move. Thanks in big part to this guy, Dedrick Mills. He's having himself a game so far. 13 more yards for the CFL's leading rusher, and all the way down to the Argo 35.
Yeah, so he wants to build that lead and get some distance between he and James Butler for sure. And, you know, we had our Zooms with Dave Dickinson, of course, this week heading into the game. And I asked him, I said, Dave, you're a former quarterback. Exactly when did you become this guy that thought that a balanced attack is important? and he actually very seriously reminded me, he said, no, this is something that we believe in. Going back to John Huffnagel when he was on the sideline. Huffnagel said it's very important to have a great running game.
Well, Stampeders have certainly had some great backs over the years. Here's Adam Poole. Soft toss to a wide open Mills. Stands there and waits for it and takes off inside the 10. Isaac D'Arcangelo takes him down near the 5. We got a first and goal Calgary coming up.
This is the other thing that Dedrick Mills can do. He can catch the ball well out of the backfield. Now, this play is designed. This is made up by VA. This is a playground kind of play. He got out there, didn't like what he saw. He's coming back, and there's my wide open tailback. But he's at 81 yards receiving in the last couple of games.
And Vernon is right there to greet him. Yeah, first down and goal, Calgary. Stampeders. An offense really moving nicely now. 7 touches, 68 yards. Back to him inside the 5, but Derek Parrish among the Argos there to stall his progress in a second and goal coming up.
Did you see the decision? Did you see the decision from Dedrick Mills there as he was taking the handoff? He takes the handoff, and after that long run on the catch and out of bounds there on the sideline, he's still breathing hard, and he just decides to lower his pad level and hit that puck. He saw the crowd of people ahead of him and thought, I don't think I have the...
Let's just try to plow through this.
I'm just going to plow right through it. You could see him make the decision.
And he gets off for a much-deserved breather here in a second and goal, Calgary. 8th play of the drive coming up. Stampeders looking to add to their lead. It's 8 points right now. Adams faking to Choquette. Wide open touchdown, Tevin Jones. Well, they ran the ball so well, and even with a different back, they faked it. And Jones wide open for a 3-yard touchdown catch as Calgary goes up a couple of scores.
Yeah, Ludovic Choquette is the tailback. He had his first CFL touchdown against the Hamilton Tiger Cats in their game, so he was spilling off Dedrick Mills, but you're right, all focus on this run game in a big way. Cam Judge commits to the run, and not to say again that he's in charge of covering a receiver, but all 12 on defense were looking at stopping the run down there.
4th touchdown of the season for Tevin Jones. 2nd offensive touchdown of the afternoon for the Calgary Stampeders. They worked it down a whole lot of Dedrick Mills, and this time it's the toss to Jones to get it done. Stamps up 15 now after an 8-play, 91-yard drive, and 63 of those 91 yards accounted for by that guy, Dedrick Mills.
Yeah, let's call it the Dedrick Mills drive. Little fly sweep mixed in there to Philpott, but Mills on the ground a bunch, working towards another 100-yard game early in this one. That little toss out to Mills set up the goal line play to Tevin Jones, wide open in behind coverage.
2nd touchdown pass thrown by Adams. He's thrown 2 in this game, and Mills counting for 131 yards of offense running and receiving. Here's Deontay McMahon, and tackled in there from behind on that play by Jacob Covington. Different kind of year for Argos head coach Ryan Dinwiddie. Tom will have more on him coming up. The overall body of work as a head coach with the Argos for Ryan Dinwiddie. Now you consider they have only won 5 games this season. Those numbers still very impressive, but no playoff spot. Tom, a different kind of year for Dinwiddie.
Rod, going from Grey Cup champion to not even getting to the dance this year, unfamiliar territory for Ryan Dinwiddie. He said, we stubbed our toe early this season. He pointed out losses in Montreal and then one at home to the Red Blacks that stand out to him. Now he's going to go back, review the season as soon as this game's over, reflect on himself, what he did that worked, what didn't work, and then get the preparation going for next year, like I said, guys. Now, he did give his guys credit, said despite the tough year mired in injuries, he said the guys fought all season long.
Had a lot to deal with the players that departed and players that got hurt, and yeah, you're right, it's a big challenge, the biggest he's had so far as head coach of the Argos. In a disappointing season, Jared Daggy throwing it underneath to Vital. Tackled, ball comes out, still on the loose, Markel Lee has it. Calgary football. Now they let it play out. Was Vital down, but as it stands right now, it's Stampeder ball. Vital had the catch, was tackled, and at some point that ball came out.
An excellent hustle by Markel Lee on this play because he's going to be at the line of scrimmage and then hustles over to get it. Let's see if Vital is down by contact here. He's hit there. Does the knee touch, and does he still have control? Because it pops out. This angle might give us a better picture.
Very close. Seeing that knee down when the ball came out. It's Kyle Wilson tackling him there.
Now it's ruled a fumble, so they'll have to find evidence to...
The ruling on the previous plays that the ball carrier was down by contact.
There you go.
It'll be 2nd down.
So they're saying those looks were enough to show that the knee had touched first.
The right knee was down, Vital. So just looked like one more thing going the way of Dave Dickinson's Stampeders. So a 3-yard gain, it ends up being in a 2nd and 7 here for the Argonauts. Second last weekend of the regular season. Stampeders have a lot to play for here. Daggy again. Kevin Mittal up around the 40, still, well, that is a first down for Toronto. Sticks will move again.
At some point, Jared Daigie's going to have to push the ball down the field a little bit. And, you know, I know they're just trying to get a little rhythm going and get a drive together against this Calgary defense. But they keep running those 5 to 10 yard quick curls, quick slants. Calgary's secondary is going to jump another one of those.
Well, first down, Argos, they only have 7 yards rushing in this game so far. Well along in the second quarter. Pressure on Daigie, gets away from Hicks, takes off. Jared Daigie on the run, and that'll add to the rushing totals right there. Matching it and then some as he gets close to another Toronto first down. He gets 8.
Yeah, I'm not sure these count with the overall run game. This is just sort of scramble, in some cases for your life. Get outside of Clarence Hicks. Get to that marker and get out of bounds.
Keeping more track of the designed rushing yardage.
Yeah, exactly. Which has really been non-existent for Toronto this year.
And as said it before, a stark contrast to the way this team was when they won the Grey Cup a year ago and ran the ball so well. Up across the 50 now, heading towards midfield. And a second and short. And Spencer Brown. Been several different running backs that they have tried this season. Brown the latest in 4 yards and another Argo first down. They had Mayan Williams. They had Kevin Brown for a while. And bringing in Spencer Brown.
Yeah, when we talk about this Argo season, you know, I think they were really making a push and trying to get out of the hole when DeMonte Coxey was playing at the top of his game. He had back-to-back 100-yard games against Winnipeg, and it looked like this team was going to get some traction offensively. Then they lost Arbuckle a couple games later.
3-minute warning is coming up. That one hurts. He takes a hard hit from Wilson after he got up. Wasn't touched initially after the catch, 9 yards, then got up and got a little bit more and certainly took a pop.
Yeah, we are way up here in Calgary in the broadcast booth. And this is a big hit. Oh.
So a second and short coming up. 3-minute warning is issued. Calgary leading the Argos 21-6.
We've reached the 3-minute warning, so it is story time now with the electric kitten.
Oh, my goodness.
Why are you wearing that?
What happened? I lost a bet.
My eyes.
You lost a bet to who?
To you.
Oh.
My Yankees lost. You said you got this from Rod Smith? Is that you said you got it from?
No, but Rod, I can find one
Rod,
if
you
you're
got more?
interested. I got lots more. Go, Chiefs, go!
Oh, Milton. I got shirts like that.
Oh,
happy to share it with you, although here's Max Duggan. Max Duggan, third-string quarterback at short yardage, and he takes off, and he gets it inside the 15. Duggan, first year at a Texas Christian, and a 30-yard pickup to get the Argos in close.
This is the B gap strong, and this is, I'm not sure why Lee moved out of that gap. It looks like that's his responsibility. Little fake, he goes to the fake, slides inside, and that B gap is wide open for Duggan.
Just on a second and short, and gets him down into the red zone.
One of the biggest running plays for the Argos all year.
Well, 55, rather above their game average right now is what they've done on that one. Daigie running for his life, and he just throws this one away. Barely back to the line of scrimmage as he was under a lot of heat right from the get-go.
Yeah, that's the problem with trying to throw that deep ball or throw it to the end zone in this case. You need an extra steamboat or two to get the ball down the field, and Jared Daigie's just not had the time in this game. Look at Clarence Hicks again.
All sorts of pressure. Just mentioning the Riders and the pressure that they got on Daigie last week.
Intentional grounding, Toronto, number 7. The down counts. It'll be second down.
Well, I'd said it looked like he just got back to the line of scrimmage, but as you hear from Justin McInnes, didn't quite make it, so he grounded the football, lost it down as well as their push back.
Yeah, and no receiver in the vicinity, so...
Ends up being an 18-yard penalty. There's Bob Slowick. His first year as the defensive coordinator for the Stampeders, taking over from Brent Monson, who went off to Hamilton. Sloan with a lot of experience, CFL and National Football League for many years. Done an excellent job with this defense, the Stampeders. This four-man rush. More pressure. And Brandon Kemp trying to help his quarterback out. The ball comes out. Markel Lee has it. What on earth happened there? Spencer Brown pushes Lee out. There was so much heat on Daggy. Kind of got wrapped up with his own offensive lineman, Brandon Kemp, and the ball came squirting out.
Well, he definitely wasn't trying to throw the ball. It almost looked like, unless he was trying to push it forward, was there a receiver? Watch how he turns and spins out of this Brown tackle attempt. You're right, he's all tangled up with his own teammate and almost tried to pass it with both hands like you would be passing a basketball. I didn't see. We'd have to take a wider look to see if there was even an Argo receiver close to that.
After automatic review by Replay Center, the ruling on the previous play is an incomplete pass. However, we have intentional grounding. Toronto number 7.
So
the down counts again. It'll be third down.
So if they rule that as a passing motion, which they are, there has to be.
Please reset the clock to 2:13.
There has to be an Argo in the vicinity, or else it has to cross the line of scrimmage. There wasn't an Argo, and it didn't cross the line of scrimmage.
He looked like he was just shoveling it ahead like a hot potato. I mean, to get rid of it, and it was. I said it was his own teammate, Brandon Kemp, who had his hands on him.
Back to back, intentional grounding calls, and put the field goal team on.
Lirimairalau has been successful at 56, 50, and he missed from 58.
So this is a chip shot, you're saying?
Relatively speaking, it's inside the 50. First one he's tried inside the 50-yard line now. Put down by Haggerty. He's looking for another field goal now after they really got pushed back. And this one is heading off to the right. Missed another one, and just taking a knee is Kalen Horton to give up the point, and we got a 21-7 game. The announcement coming earlier this week. The plans for the Grey Cup and the halftime show. It's MGK, the Bud Light halftime show. Our Lady Peace performing in the kickoff show as well. So it's an exciting time of year, and now just 1 month away to the big game in Winnipeg.
And Katie St. Germain is going to sing the national anthem, Country Girl. So looking forward to that too. And MGK with Shania Twain here, who has done 2 Grey Cups.
She was a reminder, as you talked about, a couple of Grey Cups more recently between the Argos and the Stampeders back in 27. So MGK, the halftime performer in the Grey Cup coming up. Will the Stampeders be there? The Argos can't be, but Calgary's playing very well right now and trying to improve their playoff positioning on that catch there by Eric Brooks and a big first down, 21-yard pickup.
Yeah, Eric Brooks, watch the timing and the accuracy on this throw. This is where Vernon Adams starts to loosen up those arms. Not bad coverage underneath, but almost impossible to defend. I think that was Benji Franklin.
Stamps may not be done. 2 touchdown lead. Here's Diedrich Mills. He's not done. Not by a long shot. Still running hard. What a great first half he's had. 14 more yards to the total of Diedrich Mills, down just inside the 35.
Well, I'm just going to say it. In this first half, there's a team that's in the playoffs playing and still fighting for home field in the playoffs, and a team that is out of the playoffs, and you can easily see which is which.
Yes, you can. Here's Adams with all kinds of time. Caught by Jones. And gets hit by Sluka right away, but hangs on to the ball. And the Stampeders in scoring range again. Tevin Jones, who had a touchdown catch earlier in this game.
And this is where Vernon Adams just starts to feel it, and he's almost impossible to stop. This was early in the season, Vernon Adams. The entire team went through a bit of a slump. Some of the injuries were part of the issue, but last Last week, Vernon Adams did not throw an interception against Hamilton, protected the ball well, almost threw for 300. Big run game, so they had to balance then too.
So it's a 1st and goal right at the 10. And another running play for Calgary. That's 3 more yards for Dedrick Mills. 2nd and goal. And 1:25 still on the clock before halftime. When we will head to Laura and Enoch and Milton. By the way, to finish that thought, sure, I got lots of shirts like that, but you can tell if they were mine, they'd be wrapping around Milton twice.
Yeah, and I'm not, unless there's a beach around.
Well, yeah, a little beach party.
I'm reaching for that type of shirt.
It's not Milton. Maybe Lauren Enoch missed the memo there.
I got it.
End zone look at a touchdown for Jalen Philpott. The Calgary Stampeders, late in this first half, are really pouring it on now.
Yeah, Vernon Adams is sitting back in that pocket, just picking a target. Very little resistance from the Argo defense right now. Watch how smooth this is for VA. Just a couple steps, see the out, nobody in his face, and separation for Philpott.
Jalen Philpott, 5 plays, 70 yards, and just over a minute for Calgary. Working quickly here on offense. And Philpott, by the way, the Herm Harrison Award winner. That means a lot here in Calgary. That's Community Service Award. The Stampeder best demonstrates it, and he was very honored this week earlier. An award named after a great receiver years ago with the Stampeders, Herm Harrison.
We'll see what the nomination looks like for Outstanding Canadian out of Calgary. This is a man concept down at the goal line, usually is for most teams, and VA for his pre-snap read can see that it's probably going to be man because of the press coverage here. Philpott's going to run the out with a bit of a slant underneath it, and as soon as VA sees that, yes, it is man, and there's that much of a cushion from McFadden, well, then the target is going to be Philpott,
who gets his 3rd touchdown catch of the season from Vernon Adams Jr. And now a point after try by Paredes to make it a 28-7, 21-point lead for Adams. And the Stampeders looking to get their 10th win. One of the Adams goals that Tom talked about, make the playoffs, get 10 wins, and then win a championship too. And the 10th win at this point anyway, late in the first half, is looking awfully good for Calgary.
So there's a chance that all 3 of these teams could be tied at the end of the year at 10 wins.
Could happen.
Could happen. If that happens, Calgary will host the West semifinal.
Yeah, that's the complication of all this. Now, of course, if Calgary wins tonight, they're 10-7, BC 10-7, so they'd both have to lose and Winnipeg would have to win to get that scenario. But hey, who knows?
It could happen. If BC wins next week in Saskatchewan, they host.
They will host. They'll get 2nd place.
They basically have control of whether or not they get home field.
They have the tiebreaker on Calgary. And Calgary is the tiebreaker in Winnipeg, and Winnipeg is the tiebreaker on BC. But I said the formula, I know, it's just crazy. The bottom line is, regardless of here, things looking good for the Stamps, but even if they lost, everything comes down to the final week. It's that tight in the West Division.
That's outstanding.
Really is. And as far as the East goes, by the way, Montreal winning again, so that's not done yet in terms of who gets first in the East Division. That'll come down to the final week. Hamilton hosting Ottawa, and then the Alouettes are in Winnipeg.
I wonder if we'll see Tucker Horn earlier than Coach Dinwiddie thought that he might put him in. And not to say that it's been Jared Daggy that's the issue for this Argo offense in the first half. I think Calgary has earned the lead. I mean, they started with the pick 6, and Dinwiddie did say that Tucker Horn wants to evaluate a little bit. I mean, I would be doing it a ton. I mean, this is the type of game when you're under the playoffs where you can actually evaluate some guys.
Well, Davies 14 of 16, but the longest completion was 17 yards in that one. His third incompletion intended for Herslow falls underneath with Adrian Green there, and it was Green. It was a nightmare for Daigie right at the start of the game, intercepting his pass and taking it in for a Calgary touchdown to get things started.
Of course, Jared Daigie comes from a football family. His dad coached him. His dad, Randy, was watching, coached him growing up.
And I remember Seth Daigie.
Yes, Seth, who's the offensive coordinator with the Arizona Wildcats, University of Arizona, and was a Saskatchewan Roughrider years ago.
Had some time over a decade ago in the CFL. Jared had once played for Edmonton before coming to the Argos. There's another one. Jake Herslow. My goodness. Just diving to hang on to that football 48 seconds to go on the clock before heading out of bounds. That's a first down Toronto. 13-yard pickup.
Yeah, and Herslow coming off the practice roster and then having that touchdown run. He's not going back to the practice roster, especially if he's making catches like that. And that might be the best throw of the night so far for Jared Daigie.
Beautiful catch, but not a catch there intended for Spencer Brown. He can't hang on. Just across the 50. So 2nd and 10 coming up. Only 43 seconds left before we head back to the studio for Laura and Enoch and
Fancy Shirt
and the man of sartorial splendor, Milton Eugene Stiegel, who lost a bet. He literally did lose a bet.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you see sometimes people dress it. Would you lose a bet? Yes, he did.
Yes, that is the only way that he could be wearing that shirt. It's flashy, man.
Love you, Milt. You know that.
If you guys are whoever's watching halftime, and all our football fans across the country watching, put on your sunglasses at halftime. It's a bright one.
Yeah, well, Milt and Enoch both had them on earlier, didn't they?
Well, I don't know.
I didn't have the shades on before.
That'd be too much. A couple of Ryan Dinwiddie told us that he's going to take a look at a couple of defensive players. We'll talk about that in the second half, but he did say, yeah, it is a chance to start to put some of these young guys under the spotlight and just see how they respond in this game, their last game for the Argos. One of them is going to be Greg Reeves out of South Florida. He's going to get a chance to play. Brevin Allen's going to see a little playing time, number 77. Both real young guys. He played at Campbell University.
That's in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And Ryan Dinwiddie, like we talked about how things are different this year in Toronto. As mentioned, the 4 years before that, Dinwiddie was a coach here with Dave Dickinson in Calgary, where they went to the Grey Cup 3 of those 4 years, and they hosted a playoff game in the other year in 2019. The last time Dinwiddie missed the playoffs, he was the offensive coordinator for the Montreal Alouettes in 2015. It's been that long. It's been a decade since he's been out of the playoff mix.
Yeah, I've appreciated all year his honesty when we get on those calls, too.
Absolutely. 42 seconds. Back. Hey, they got him again. They got him again. Sean Peterson coming in, picking up the sack.
Ryan Hunter is one-on-one. There's Hunter, and there's Peterson, and this is a speed rush around the edge. Just try to make a move right at the point of attack, then get around the edge. And because Jared Daigie had dropped so deep, he couldn't really find a way to step up in the pocket. He had faded back a little bit more, about 2 or 3 yards deeper, and that's right in the lane of Peterson.
So Daigie off again. Another tough one for him and the Argos as Haggerty will punt this one away. Late in the half, and Kalen Horton the one back for the return for Calgary. 22 seconds to go, and looking like the Stamps will have a 3-touchdown lead heading to the dressing room. Horton at the 20, 54-yard punt. D'Arcangelo on the tackle. And we just got 7 seconds to go until halftime.
Maybe one more running play to Diedrich Mills. Finish the half. Solid lead going in at halftime for the home team.
The way Mills is running, one more play, he got 13 yards, would put him at 100 rushing at the half. What a half. 87 yards on 8 carries.
Oh, they're just going to kneel.
They're just going to take a knee and be satisfied, as they should be with the way this first half has gone. Right from the get-go with the pick 6 by Adrian Green, and offense taking care of business as well. This has been a good game for Calgary so far in all phases of it.
Well, they're starting to stack here because, boy, that game against Hamilton, they look like the early Stampeders from this season.
Halftime in Calgary. Adams and the Stampeders heading off with a 28-7 lead, and lots you can highlight for the red and white, but none more than their running back Diedrich Mills. Mentioned the 8 carries for 87 yards, and also a couple of catches too for 62 yards. And he had one drive in particular where he had the vast majority of the yardage before ended up being a touchdown for Tevin Jones. But Diedrich Mills standing by now with Tom Gazzola.
We're on all smiles with Diedrich Mills here after a pretty strong first half. The defense coming up with big plays. You're getting a lot of touches. The offense scoring TDs. What did you like most about that first half?
I mean, just everybody playing as a unit, playing as a team. We just coming out here with the energy. Started off with the game with the energy, with the interception, and it just got us going.
I know you told me you don't want to think about the rushing title this year, but you're putting together a pretty good game so far. Does it creep into your mind?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I got people on the sideline coming up and telling me about how many yards I got. Just keep running the ball. You almost there, and just keep pushing me. So that's what I just keep doing.
Appreciate the time, Diedrich.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, Diedrich Mills and the Stamps up big on the Argos. Let's send it over to Laura and the panel.
And as the weather gets colder and the games get more and more important, having
What's so funny?
Shades and fancy shirt over here on my left. The importance of having a running back like Diedrich Mills is so paramount to your team's success. And for Mills now, he only has 3 100-yard rushing games this season, but he's well on his way to number 4, Milt.
Yeah, and he's doing it all for this team, and he's been consistent all year long, evident by the fact that he'll probably be the league's rushing king when the season is over with after next week. He's doing it all, not only on the ground, but also through the air. And Vernon Adams has found a way to get in the ball, and that's great. And as you mentioned, there's going to be some games, especially when we get to these playoffs, where you need that BWB, that bad weather back. And most times, bad weather backs, they're not small, pretty guys. Not saying he's an ugly guy, but they're the girthy guys who can make it happen in between the tackles, also outside. So Diedrich Mills is having the best year of his career. It's good for him. It's good for these Calgary Stampeders. They're back on pace right now. They seem to be going to the playoffs with the momentum. Vernon Adams is playing well. That defense is playing well. So this team right now is in a good place, because you think about it, 4 weeks before last week's game, we were thinking, like, what's going to happen with this team? But right now, this team is going in the right direction.
And while the Argos are focusing on shutting down Diedrich Mills in this game, opening things up, as you said, for VA, who's thrown 3 touchdowns in that first half. He had 3 touchdowns combined in the previous 5 games. So we kind of said, is this a make-right game for the Stamps? So far, so good. The last thing we haven't discussed is obviously that defense and the way that Calgary started this game off with a bang. During the losing skid, they were giving up almost 40 points per game. They had last week's big game against Ticats, giving up just 20, and now that unit's kind of reclaiming what it did earlier in the season.
Yeah, this is the type of game that the Calgary Stampeders wanted to have, and they're hitting on all cylinders. The offense, as you mentioned, Milt, are playing extremely well, from the running game to the passing game, but this defense has been impressive as well. You talk about Clarence Hicks, the defensive line and up front. I mean, this offensive line just can't keep him in front of him. He's got this offensive line on skates, and he keeps getting by him every single time. Poor Davey is fighting for his life almost every down. And so beyond that, though, I love what these linebackers have been doing. All the linebackers, Jacob Roberts, Markel Lee, Kyle Wilson got in there and was making some wreaking havoc as well. So they're being active, and this is what this defense needed to do when they show up. And you can't talk about this defense without mentioning Adrian Green. St. Mary's Adrian Green has been playing tremendously throughout the course of the season. Early on in the season, he had an injury, but he came right back, and he still has 5 interceptions throughout the course of the season. He's playing tremendous for this season. He is going to be a force for this team going forward.
2 pick sixes this season, both of them coming against the Argos. And yeah, for the Stamps, sticking in this, because it's going to come down to next week and who finishes second in the West. And I think a Calgary team that's clicking on all cylinders, you don't want them in the playoffs.
No, you don't. You don't want to see them in the playoffs. If Vernon Adams is on this game and that defense is rolling. And Glenn Suter mentioned how that defense struggled really when they lost one of your best friends, Flo Remalade. But they seem to be getting it back on track right now. So they want to keep that going, because when you get in the playoffs, you got to have all cylinders going. There is no time to be relaxing. You got to get it going. And Calgary Stampeders got pretty much have it going.
Nothing like the big mo to get into the playoffs.
Thanks, fancy shirt. That was some good stuff.
Glenn Suter, that was messy. Glenn and Rod, they both know. They were born in the 60s. They got like 50 shirts like this.
My favorite was, why are you wearing that shirt? Did you lose a bet? Yeah, I lost a bet. If you missed any of the action from Week 20, don't worry, you're in luck. We've got highlights from the other 3 games on the schedule coming up on the other side of the break.
The Stampeders now know they have clinched a playoff spot, but still a lot to be decided here. The throw is picked off. Adrian Green doing it again. On a top. Still going is Dominic Grimes. 5. Touchdown Stampeders. Faking to Choquette. Wide open touchdown Kevin Jones. Calgary goes up a couple of scores.
Rough Riders, Blue Bombers kicked off Week 20. Bombers down 7 here in the first quarter. Zach Alaris going deep for Ontario Wilson. And just like that, Winnipeg on the board. Wilson's 3rd touchdown of the season. He's now scored in back-to-back games. The Riders, though, would pull ahead in the 4th quarter. It's all up to the leg of that man, Sergio Castillo. Chance to walk it off. Chip shot from 22 yards out. And he does it as the Bombers get the victory in the nightcap. It was the Elks and Lions. And the teams in the West paying special attention to this one. Lions by 10 in the 3rd. Nathan Rourke escaping the pressure. And no one
out of there
is going to stop him from getting into the end zone. 70 yards later, the longest run of his career, helps the Lions win their 5th straight. More importantly, that eliminates the Elks from playoff contention. And with that result, it means the Bombers and the Stamps are in as well. And then earlier today in the first game of our doubleheader between the Alouettes and the Red Blacks, Montreal by 12 in the 3rd quarter. Tyree Adams, it's tipped and picked off by Tyrese Beverett. Wesley Sutton getting credited with the deflection. 4th INT on the year for Beverett. Montreal possession just outside of the red zone. An ensuing drive. Davis Alexander going to work here to Austin Mack, who had another big game. Alexander with 2 touchdown passes on the day. He's now 11-0 in his CFL career. The Owls win, and their hopes to win the East are still alive. And there is the logo for the 2026 Grey Cup, which, of course, will be taking place in Calgary 4 weeks from tomorrow. We've got this year's Grey Cup, the 112th edition in Winnipeg. And, yes, MGK just announced that he will be the halftime entertainment. Perhaps Milt will bring the shirt with him. Illustrate in Winnipeg there.
My man Mo, too. That's my man. But we still doing this, huh?
Well, this is it. You've been a really good sport today, Melt, I must admit. And the fact that we had a doubleheader, we're really firing at home here. The other options I had, there was a skeleton orange shirt that I thought was good with Halloween just around the corner. But
I'm done with this.
We asked Kate about this one. We asked Enoch helped me out. I think we made the right decision.
I'm done with you guys. I quit.
You're a good sport, though, Mill. You're a good sport, man. You followed through.
I quit.
Could you describe how the shirt feels? Because
it feels like pigskin. This is the worst. I'm quit. I'm done. I'm out of here. I quit.
Hey,
I quit.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
I didn't even tell him they were matching pants. We'll give them to those.
Had the pants too.
I'm worried about what revenge he's going to get on me next season because this is my last CFL game and I wanted to go out on a high note. The Stamps running all over the Argos there in this first half.
They went back into
halftime at McMahon, and the stats definitely tilting towards the Calgary Stampeders, who lead 28-7. One of the brighter spots for a struggling offense at Toronto would be receiver Kevin Mittal, 5 catches, 43 yards. Standing by now with Tom Gazzola.
Kevin, I know it was a tough half of football. What stood out to you?
I mean, it's tough. We're just trying to keep the offense going. We got a third quarterback back there. Just trying to hold it for him and make some plays.
Last half of football for you guys. What do you try to do? Did you guys have a conversation in the locker room or anything like that?
Yeah, I think we're going to have 5 in the backfield, so we're going to see what he can do and go with him.
Appreciate the time,
Go
Kevin.
Argos. Thank you.
Well, Kevin Mittal telling us, I should say, that there's going to be a quarterback change, and it's Tucker Horn out of Trinity University is going to be coming in.
Yeah, and this is earlier than originally thought. I think Brian Dinwiddie originally told us anyway that he wanted to wait till the third quarter, give Jared Daggy the first 3 quarters, and then look at that fourth for Tucker Horn. But maybe just to mix things up, see if Horn can avoid the rush, because that rush was the issue for Jared Daggy. That's not on him. It's guys up front just weren't giving him enough time.
4 sacks for the Stampeders, but that tells just part of the story. All the pressure that Calgary was getting on Jared Daggy. So a quarterback change coming up at Calgary to get the ball first. And off the kickoff here. And it goes out of bounds, so flag comes out. And that's kind of the way it is for the Argos for their season, and certainly for this game, starting this half with a penalty.
Yeah, and it's a big penalty. It's good field position. So Vernon Adams
Legal kick out of bounds. Toronto, number 71. First down, Calgary.
Vernon Adams in his first half of football looked good. I mean, Dedrick Mills was a big part of that first half. Talked about all his yards rushing. That was a nice throw for the first touchdown to Dom Rhymes, get him activated, and then VA got in a groove, was really picking his targets. Found Tevin Jones late in the first half.
They moved the ball very well in the second quarter in particular. So Vernon Adams, 9 for 11, 181 yards passing, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Dedrick Mills, the biggest story in that Calgary offense in the first half, and he picks up where he left off to start the second half with 13 more yards.
So 13 added to his 87 in the first half, rushing on 8 carries. It's a pretty nice average right there. And then also had a couple of catches for 62 yards in the first half. One setting up the Tevin Jones touchdown.
9 carries. And if they give him 12 instead of 13 now, that'd be 99. No matter. He's going to get his 100 one way or the other. That's quickly off to Jalen Philpott at a touchdown in the first half and good yardage after the catch. Tavares McFadden finally getting Philpott down around the 35 of Toronto. Quickly out of the gate in the second half, the Stampeder.
We always talk about teams out of the playoffs having to, play for pride, play for your teammates. One of the first things that drops off is tackling. Two reasons that tackling will drop off: lack of motivation, or you're just so fatigued that you can't get in the right position.
Certainly looked like a bit of the latter for Toronto, the way this game is playing out. And there's Mills, and he is over 100 heading into this carry, and just keeps adding to the totals. The CFL's rushing leader came in 40 yards ahead of second place. That's James Butler, and he's opening up the gap right now.
Watch the block, Zach Williams and Demaray. Demaray coming back after missing last week. In fact, they moved Joshua Coker over to his spot, and look at the size of the hole for Dedrick Mills. But they moved Demaray when he was out. They moved Josh Coker over to that spot at left tackle. put Preston Nichols in.
Second down and short now, and Adams right back to Mills. See if he can get that first down. Doesn't get much, but he did get it. He gets it down to about the 25, so picks up a couple more yards. Sticks moving again for Calgary.
So Deontay Desmarais has missed 3 of the last 6 games due to injury, and Joshua Coker moved to that spot in their last game. Preston Nichols played right tackle. Nichols stays at right tackle for this one because Joshua Coker and Hamilton got hurt. So they do get Deontay Desmarais back. Not sure about Coker in the next couple of weeks. We'll see if they can get their 2 starting tackles back in there. In the meantime, Preston Nichols has played well.
They're moving the ball well. Again, here we go, quickly. Off to the side to Eric Brooks. He gets it inside the 20. Another good pickup on first down. It'll set up another second and short.
And now the question that Dave Dickinson might have very quickly if they finish this drive is how long do you keep VA out there?
Well, up 3 touchdowns. And it's Joshua Love who's the number 2. Doesn't have much playing experience at all in the CFL. Vernon Adams at 199. But yeah, that question will come up if they get to the point where they think this game is in the bag. We're still early in the second half and a 2nd and 3. The fake. Adams has time. Takes a look to the end zone. We got a flag out for pass interference of Delonte Hood. He was covering Damian Alford on that play, and clearly contact before the ball arrived.
Pass interference, Toronto, number 14. Foul happened in goal. Ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down, Calgary.
Let's take a look at the technique from Hood. Playing the wide side corner. A little bit of contact there. Looks like he's okay there, and then grabbed the jersey. It looked like pulled away from Alford, that jersey, and Vernon Adams trying to help the officials.
First and goal, 7th play of the drive, 3 touchdown lead. On the verge of making it 4. Adams, Mills, he's made into the end zone. Another touchdown, a great second effort for Dietrich Mills. He's just not being denied today. Looked like the Argos had him, but they didn't have enough of him. And he found his way in again for another Calgary touchdown.
I love the celebrations when they do a little dancing like that and the offensive line gets involved. It's always fun to watch those big boys try to dance. Look at the effort from Dietrich Mills. He wants every yard he can get on the way to that title.
So they start the second half in style, and 26 again is a big part of it. Point after try coming up here to make it a 35-7 Calgary lead. The Stampeders, and that one is good. Playing like a team that has something at stake right now. Looking for that 10th win. Talk about that post-touchdown dance.
Quarterbacks can dance, receivers can dance. Look at VA going. Offensive line.
Oh, sure they can. Dancing into the playoffs. Starting off the second half with another touchdown drive of the Calgary Stampeders, and again suits Dietrich Mills. Certainly made a contribution.
Yeah, the offensive line is doing its job in a couple of ways. One is the blocking for Mills, who just keeps racking up the yards, but also giving VA so much time. I don't think he's even moved in the pocket or had to. Maybe the one rollout where he got outside of Dozier, but other than that, he's standing back there just slinging it.
And they just keep adding to the total and the lead, and a flag is out in the kickoff. And that's Deontay McMahon in the return. Flag out before, another flag coming out. 35-7 of the lead. And we're getting ready for Tucker Horn, who did get in a little bit after Jarrett Dagey was removed by the concussion spotter last week in Saskatchewan. 4 for 5 for 35 yards in that game. That's his body of work in the CFL. He's going to get more work now, it would appear, in the balance of this game.
Well, he hasn't had 9,000 yards passing in the CFL, but he has a Trinity. And
Yeah, he racked up some big numbers at Trinity University.
Div 3 school, but doesn't matter. I mean, 9,000 yards is a lot of yards.
A lot of good quarterbacks that come out of Division 3 schools, too.
No question.
But this is just to give him a little taste of...
There were 2 fouls on the previous play. Offside, Calgary, number 77. During the return, holding, Toronto, number 0. We're going to re-kick.
So offside on the kickoff, they'll have to redo it. But yeah, 9,000 yards passing. Great touchdown interception ratio. Like, great.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas, and have a look. And talk about the numbers, too. 97 touchdown passes, 17 interceptions. That's it.
Yeah, 68%, which was a school record when he left. You don't play 18 games in college either.
No.
Throw for 9,000 yards.
Tucker Horn, first year in the CFL. He's been on the depth chart most of the season. Of course, Chad Kelly, their top quarterback, hasn't played all year. Nick Arbuckle carried most of the load and then shut down for the season just recently. And then it's McMahon again on the kick return. They redo the play, gets up across the 35, and we will see Tucker Horn coming on, just a 1-yard difference after redoing that kickoff for the Argos in their field position.
You know, based on what's happened tonight and what Jared Daggy was going through, we'll have to see how his foot speed is.
Well,
how his negotiation of the pocket is.
I remember the subject came up. He was number 2 in the depth behind Arbuckle for a time, ahead of Daggy, and he was asked why Daggy was going in. I think he was reluctant to expose him if he didn't feel there was enough protection for the quarterback. Didn't want to subject him to that. In now, handing off to Spencer Brown, and nothing there.
That is a keener getting a chance to play in Tucker Horn. Did you see the way he carried through with that fake after he handed the ball off?
He sold it.
He ran for about 40 yards. There's the give right up in the middle. Watch Tucker Horn after this. Here's a fake. He's coming around the corner. I'm going to keep running. There you go. I'm getting a chance to play.
They would have got a lot more yardage if he hung on to the football instead of handing off in that option there. 2nd and 10. No gain. Spencer Brown. And to throw. And completes his first pass in this one. And that's caught by Dejon Brissett. Still shy of a first down, just up across the 40.
Nice little crossing route in the trips formation. Trips meaning 3 receivers to the one side. And he's just running that quick crosser and getting Tucker Horn a first completion.
Horn heads off, though, on the 2 and out. And the first catch for Brissett, their top receiver this season, coming in at 887 yards. But Kalen Horton is back for this kick from John Haggerty. And it's all Stampeders here in the second half. Third quarter, 35-7, about to get the ball back. Final game of the season for these Argos, by the way. 64-yard punt, another booming punt there by Haggerty, and the return by Horton gets it up across his 15, about the 17. Stamps, that 10th win looking awfully good right now. 35-7, third quarter. The NFL's back overseas tomorrow. Another international game. London, England. Rams, Jags, 2 teams at 4-2. You can catch all the action. That's tomorrow, bright and early, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on TSN Plus for the Rams and the Jags. Here in Calgary, all Stampeders, 35-7, third quarter. And they start their drive on the 17th. Vernon Adams off to the right. It is caught, and it's a first down. That's Jalen Philpott. And Dave Dickinson, after missing the playoffs a year ago, really likes the effort he's gotten from his team this year.
I got a lot of faith in this team. I think they're giving me everything they got. They're doing a great job of that. You know, let's not confuse the effort with actually getting the job done and making sure it's about winning still and trying to make sure as a team that we're doing the right things, play winning football.
We got a rabbit on the field.
Got a jackrabbit. Better be careful.
And run the play. Careful of that rabbit. the greatest calls in CFL and TSN history was done by Glenn Suter years ago when he called that rabbit, along with Chris Cuthbert, as it headed right down, and then you gave it a big yahoo as the Jackrabbit did a little spin celebration crossing the goal line.
Oh, he did a flip as he crossed the goal line. Yeah. In that one, I don't even know how many years ago that was. Horse doesn't flinch.
I was just going to say, Quick Six is not impressed as that Jackrabbit has gone off into the Calgary night. He looked at the scoreboard, as John Hines tells us, our producer. Stampeders don't need me. Second and 8, and they get to VA. Darren Casey coming in, and yes, finally some pressure from the Argos defensive front as Aaron Casey picks up a sack.
When we talked to Dinwiddie this week, I asked him about some players that impressed him that he's looking forward to see growth from next year, and Aaron Casey was one of them. First 5 games playing defense, where he was actually getting some defensive reps, 4 sacks. And he said he's been impressive for a young guy.
Mark Bassett with the punt for Calgary. Denarian Grant inside his 40, a 48-yard punt. And to weave his way forward, he works it to get it across the 45. Argos down a bunch. They do have a defensive highlight there, and the sack from Aaron Casey to force the Stampeders to kick it away. This is Toronto center Peter Nicastro. Now, he's an Argo, has been since being drafted, but he's a Calgary kid. Calgary football coming up, and his dad faithfully comes to his games. In fact, John Nicastro, there's Pops. He has not missed any of Peter's games at all levels of football, including the ones in Toronto, when they're on the road in other cities, has a tailgate party before every Stampeders game, and dedicated and proud, I'm sure, of watching his son's CFL career.
Well, we talked about Peter with Coach Dinwiddie, and he was adamant. I asked him, I said, on your offensive line, and I know you've gone through a lot of changes because of injury, who stood out for you? And Peter Nicastro was this without hesitation answer, and he said, just been so consistent and so good, and those centers are the guys that have to make sure that everyone knows what they're doing and where they're blocking and which way they're moving, so they move together. So yeah, just because you're out of the playoffs, there's still a lot of players on your team that have had good seasons. Peter Nicastro is one of them.
And Pops, John Nicastro supporting him every step of the way. Of course, Peter, a Grey Cup champion a couple of times with the Argos. Tucker Horn at quarterback, intercepted. Godfrey Onyeka, he has it, and Brown tackles him. But another turnover committed by the Argos, this time the first interception thrown by Tucker Horn thrown into this game. And it is Calgary football once again. Onyeka with the pick. And Calgary with the huge lead, getting the ball back. Updated rushing total for Dedrick Mills this season. It has been over a decade since a Stampeder running back has hit this level. Let's go back to Tom.
Ron, Dedrick Mills giving his teammates a lot of love, although he's having a great season himself. And he said that there's a real brotherhood in this Stamps locker room. He says he's never played on a team like this before. He pointed to the leadership. VA, Reggie Beggleton, who's been hurt for a good chunk of the year. Flo, he said. Dominique Grimes, to name a few. And that's what this team has kind of done in tough times and in good times. And he says going into the postseason, that's exactly what you want, is to stick together. And he appreciates everybody on this team.
Well, it's interesting, Tom. I mean, they were the best team in the CFL in the first 7 weeks. They had a 5-1 record. They were 8-3 at one point. Then they lost 4 in a row before turning things around in Hamilton last week. And then this one tonight looking a whole lot better for Vernon Adams and the Calgary Stampeders. VA calls his own number. Takes off, and another good pickup into the Argo zone. 16 more yards for Calgary and Vernon Adams.
Yeah, and when we had that discussion with Dedrick Mills, we'll just give you another look at this run up the middle for Vernon Adams. But we had that discussion with Dedrick. He talked about those player-only meetings, the player-run meetings, and I said, just when you were going through the losing streak that you decided to have a couple of those. He goes, no, we've been doing it all year. And basically any player can call a team meeting that is player only. It's unusual.
Well, they've certainly been working their way out of their slump, and Mills again.
He said, and I asked VA about it afterwards in the next call, and VA said, yeah, I mean, I think the first one of the season, while we were winning in that 5-1 start, he said the first one was from Flo Rimbalade. And it was just a check. You go around the room, anyone can say what they want to say, and they can get it off their chest if there's something they want to talk about. And, you know, we always hear about player-only meetings when you're losing. That's common. But not all the way through the season. And a lot of different players have stepped up and taken the lead in those meetings.
Good veteran presence in that Stampeder team, making a difference, whether they're playing right now or not. There's Adams running around, and bring up a point you had been talking about earlier. It's 35-7. I know it's third quarter, but how much longer are you going to keep Vernon Adams in this game?
Yeah, I may have done it earlier than now, but I was thinking of it about 5 to 7 minutes ago on the clock, on the game clock, which is about a half an hour. But you see his right leg got rolled on a little bit. Now he's going to shake that off.
Who knows? That might be it. They have Joshua Love, the number 2 on the depth, and then Quincy Vaughn. So it's close enough for a field goal try for Rene Paredes. This will be about a 48-yard attempt. His season high is 53. 35 of 43, just over 81% this year, and he pushed that through, and it's 38-7, and that much more of a reason why you, with a 31-point lead, you may want to sit your star quarterback the rest of the way. So we can tell you the final week of the CFL regular season definitely means something here. For the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who still haven't wrapped up first in the East, they can do it if they get a win over the Ottawa Red Blacks. And then the Stamps visit Edmonton. And the Elks are out now. The Stampeders are in, but still lots to play for Calgary in terms of getting position. They can be anywhere from 2 to 4 and possibility of a crossover.
Anytime the Battle of Alberta happens, there is lots to play for.
Even when there isn't, there is.
Yeah, there is.
And in this case, for Calgary, looking very comfortable for their 10th win tonight. Here's Tucker Horn in at quarterback. Flag coming out as he completes that to David Unger up around the 45 as he just squirts free. And there's Joshua Love, and it looks like this could be it for Vernon Adams after he did limp off late here in the third quarter and up big time by 31 points.
Joshua Love, opportunities with the LA Rams back in 2020, Carolina Panthers the next year.
He is among the greatest passers
Legal
in history.
contact, Calgary, number 48. 10-yard penalty, first down Toronto.
First down for Toronto in this half. Joshua Love went to San Jose State University, and among those he passed, moving up in passing yardage in school history, a certain guy who was a quarterback. Perhaps you've heard of him in Calgary, Jeff Garcia.
Yes, yes, I have. In fact, he started his career at 7-0. Davis Alexander earlier today is now 11-0. That's a name full of big names on that board.
Sure is, and
congratulations to Montreal with another win, and that's why Hamilton, as you mentioned, has to win their final game.
And if not, if somehow Ottawa does pull off an upset in Hamilton, then the Alouettes would have a chance in Winnipeg to get the bye in the East. So Ticats hoping it doesn't come to that. But there's Adams off, and a good day's work. Still looks like he's favoring something on the right side. But as I said, looks like his day is definitely done. That big lead by Calgary. Adams 12 of 14 for 213 and 3 touchdown passes. They ran the ball so well. Here's a deep look, and it's off the helmet of Herslow. In there with Delonte Robinson in the coverage. And Herslow's made some great catches, including one in this game. That pass from Horn, he just can't get that one off the helmet. The third down coming up here for the Argos.
Delonte Robinson is playing the boundary corner, and I know we're going through quarterbacks here, and we're deep in the depth chart for that went right off the head of Herslow, but deep in the depth chart at the quarterback position for the Argos. But in that Delaney Robinson, we haven't talked about much on that corner. He's playing well.
Yep. 2 Canadian corners starting tonight. As you talked about on the defense here, the punt by Haggerty and lower and rolling out of bounds just inside the 20. And Joshua Love is indeed coming on as the next quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders. Here's what happened to Vernon Adams on his last play.
Yeah, trying to avoid the tackle here, and then gets rolled on that leg. Now it looks like it's a hip issue. And you just hope that Coach Dickinson didn't wait one play too many to make this change.
So it's Joshua Love getting his taste of CFL action now. We need quarterback for Calgary, as mentioned, out of San Jose State. And it was Jeff Garcia, former Stampeder, later went to the NFL, the most successful quarterback in the history of that school at San Jose State. Love looking to throw. Under pressure, completes it too. He snaps it in there to Jalen Philpott and a first down on his first pass.
Right around 60% through his college career in completion percentage. PJ Walker was the backup quarterback to start the season, but Josh Love now with the injury to Walker and his season over, that gets a chance to get some reps.
Do the last play of the first quarter here. And the flag comes out, though, handed off to Diedrich Mills. Still a second on the clock until three-quarter time.
Can't have enough good quarterbacks, and certainly got to get some reps in live game action to actually know.
I'll tell you, on a night that has just belonged to the Stampeders, that's the only negative sight when you see that Vernon Adams Jr. is sorting out a little injury there to his right side. Hopefully nothing serious. And I think regardless would have been around the time that Dave Dickinson would have been looking to make a change with them leading by 31 points.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the point and just how this game has gone, and just like I mentioned at the end of the first half, there's one team that's in the playoffs.
Illegal low block, Calgary, number 19. It's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's fighting for home field in the playoffs, and then there's a team that's out, and you could tell clearly in this game which are the two teams. And so based on that alone too, and you get that first drive score again early in the third quarter. I mean, there has been some miraculous comebacks, but not tonight.
Certainly can't see it tonight. Love throwing again. Had some heat on that one. It goes incomplete. That was a hit for Dominic Rhymes, and that is the final play of the third quarter. Third quarter of a game that completely belongs to the home side. That was Shania Twain riding quick six earlier before the game. The star appearance during the game. Bouvier and certainly Diedrich Mills. Calgary 15 away from that 10th win. We are through three quarters here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. All Stampeders right from the get-go with the pick six by Adrian Green. But I guess now the only concern heading into the final 15 minutes, Suits, would be the health of Vernon Adams, who's out of this game.
Yeah, it really brings up that conversation as to when you can't change your playoff positioning, and the Stampeders could in this game, as we talked about for home field. But if you can't, like Saskatchewan's situation, do you play your star quarterbacks? And if you do, how long do you play them? And it's, my opinion on it.
Yeah.
And that differs from a lot of people. There's a lot of coaches that are worried about rust, and I talked to Scott Milanovich in Hamilton about this, and if they did clinch last week before their bye week, would he rest everybody? And he said no, because it would be too long.
Yeah. So it's Josh Love, and on that screen, and it's going nowhere. And that's Choquette, Ludwig Choquette. on the receiving end there.
So Corey Mace has got to make that decision for that final game against the BC Lions when it comes to Trevor Harris, who didn't play yesterday.
Well, I mean, it's a relatable subject for a lot of coaches. Talked to Jason Moss about it a few weeks ago, and he feels like Scott Milanovich that he wants them to stay in. Wants them to stay in game action and in part of it, even if things, now of course the Alouettes still have a lot to play for. But.
Yeah, exactly. That's the determining factor. I mean, the Alouettes can still finish first, and that bye is so important. But you saw the hits that Davis Alexander took early in that game. Some concern there.
Janarian Grant backtracks, picks up a block or two, cuts it back, and Janarian Grant and a high tackle coming in on him, and a flag comes out too. That's Daniel Joseph finishing off things in that play and drawing the flag. But Janarian Grant can be so entertaining even when he's not getting a lot of yardage upfield.
Well, he is.
Face mask, Calgary, number 95. 15 yards from the end of the play, first down.
One of the great aspects of our game is the return game. And we have some outstanding, great returners that can turn around a playoff game, and it's a face mask, and it's a high tackle, and Coach Dickinson over there just to remind him, just good hustle, just get your target area down lower.
So there's Peter DeCastro, 52, the center for the Argos. Tucker Hornan behind him. They have good field position here now after the penalty. On that hitch to Kevin Mittal, and he just can't break free of that tackle by the safety Bailey Devine Scott.
But when we talked to Dinwiddie about that, just evaluation process and looking at different players and taking a look here at Tucker Horn, and asked him about when he was going to put together his game plan for next year, and he admitted, and this is what I like about his honesty, he admitted, we've got to upgrade our talent. We got to find some players.
Tucker Horn. Another screen gets deflected up. Little tip, and no Stamp close enough to pick that one off, falling incomplete. And a third down coming up.
Might as well go for it.
Well, down over 4 touchdowns, fourth quarter.
Get your quarterback one more rep, at least. Maybe more.
But you're right about the Argos and all the change. Free agents lost, injuries. They've been faced with a lot after being the team in the East for a few years. End zone look, no, incomplete. On the third down, they'll turn it over on downs intended there for Mackay Polk. Turning it over for a third time. Calgary takes over. Not close enough for Polk. Calgary, big-time lead. And Joshua Lovin at quarterback taking the handoff, and then the toss back to Ludwig Choquette, and Isaac Darkangelo has him all wrapped up and taken down. It's a return to Calgary for former Stampeder linebacker Cameron Judge, who had some good years here in red and white. You look at that. He'd been with the Argos before, but traded back to Toronto for Folarin Rimolade.
A lot of great play out of Cameron Judge when he was here in Calgary. He was an all-star for a couple of years in the league, and doing the same thing in Toronto. I mean, the trade, it's one of those rare trades that were great for both teams. And unfortunately for Calgary, Flo Rimolade is done for the season with an Achilles. But just, again, stuff in the stat sheet from Cameron Judge this year. And he's the guy, like when he was here in Calgary, and they would play against Edmonton and Trey Ford and all his athletic scrambling and all that. There's his numbers from this year in Toronto. But he was the spy guy.
Yeah.
He is the athlete that can do a whole bunch of things very versatile in that defense, and DCs love that.
One of the leaders on this Argo defense now, Cameron Judge. Here's a deep ball by Josh Love. It's caught.
How about that?
Jalen Philpott has Love coming on for Vernon Adams and airs it out for a big play.
How about that throw? That is a great throw with pass rush coming down the middle. He drops a dime over the shoulder of Jalen Philpott
For a 50-yard pickup. And the young career of Joshua Love just coming on later in this half. Get a little taste of the action now with this big lead and a big play. And a first down in the Argo zone inside the Toronto 40 now for Calgary and Love. Quickly off to his right to Clark Barnes. Barnes with a catch in this game, his first. Picks up a few more yards. Second and long coming up. But getting back to Cameron Judge and his leadership role, takes it seriously, mentoring the younger players in the Argo defense.
I feel like this year I kind of started talking and, giving some advice I thought could help some guys a little more this year, because it did start, though, guys would approach me, and then when I saw, they're kind of taking it in and kind of listening to me, I realized, okay, maybe I am getting a little older, but then also, if I have some, maybe I'll give it to some of these guys, because, they're willing to listen and pay attention, so if I can help, I'll do my best to try.
Cameron Judge, deep look into the end zone and knocked down by Benji Franklin, but Love taking his shots at that 50-yard connection and then took a shot 37 yards. Oh, boy. And got a receiver down. That's the rookie, Damian Alford.
Good battle for the ball. What did Alford do when he hit the ground? But yeah, I mean, when you're talking, if you're a young player in Toronto right now, you are listening to Cameron Judge and his advice. I would make him my nominee for the Argos for outstanding defensive player.
That kick by Rene Paredes, 45 yards. He's 2 for 2 and 3 more on the board for Calgary. Stamps just keep adding to the lead now. Basketball on TSN right around the corner. Get ready. It all begins Friday. Milwaukee Bucks play the Raptors. That's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. New season in the NBA. It's coming up on TSN. Meanwhile, getting late in the CFL season. Second last weekend coming to an end here. Week 20. And there's Vernon Adams. It's Tucker Horn in the Argo offense. And the sweep there to Jake Herslow, and Jacob Roberts has him all wrapped up for a short game. And Max Duggan, 19 at quarterback, not Tucker Horn. He had a big carry of 30 yards in the third quarter on a short yardage play out of Texas Christian University.
7th round pick in the NFL. The big run in short yardage tonight.
Flags out, and a pass by Duggan completed to Spencer Brown, who took a hit right away and is driven back there by Adam Bighill, the future Hall of Famer who left Winnipeg and has joined the Calgary Stampeders. And let's see what the flag's all about from Justin McInnes.
Holding Toronto, number 51. It's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Big hit here from Adam Bighill, and whether Adam Bighill plays a lot in the playoff game or doesn't, he's still going to be valuable to this team in the locker room.
We were talking earlier about them enduring the 4-game losing streak and the value of veteran leadership even off the field. He could certainly make a difference.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
For Adam Bighill, so always helps to validate your working process.
So Max Duggan in at quarterback now. Third quarterback used by the Argos in this game. Throwing and goes back to Spencer Brown, and that is complete underneath. But Adam Bighill starting his career with the BC Lions. Some great years there. Won a Grey Cup in 2011. And, of course, what he did helping out the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in their back-to-back titles. And what a career he's had, and he's got the numbers to show for it.
Just a few tackles in his career. Almost 1,000 tackles. His former coach, Michael O'Shea, second on that list. But, you know, what the veterans that have been there and won cups do for a locker room, especially for the young guys, when you're working, you're never sure if you're doing enough. Are you doing it right? And that's blocked.
It is. Haggerty's punt is blocked. Calgary football, and Adam Bighill takes it. So it was blocked, and it actually did advance over the line of scrimmage. A flag is down for no yards, presumably, as Adam Bighill, the punt returner, gets a little bit of work there. You could see that heat coming in on John Haggerty.
No yards, Toronto, number 36. 5 yards from the end of the play. First down, Calgary.
Haggerty. Blocked. It still advances and into the hands of Adam Bighill. Brady Breeze.
Brady is going to breeze right by the line on the punt team and get a piece of this. It does cross the line, so it's not a block kick. It ends up being a punt and a punt return with no yards from Toronto from Adam Bighill, who's heads up.
Joshua Love at quarterback on that carry. It's Ludwig Choquette, the ball carrier, after a great day. Hey, some analysis just writes itself, eh? Brady Breeze.
Well, he was an NFL draft pick, 6th round back in 21 with the Tennessee Titans, and spent some time there. Oregon was his school, and a rookie with all the injuries in the secondary for Calgary. Been on the roster for a couple of games.
Papa Breeze.
Oh, Papa Breeze.
We said Mama Breeze and Papa Breeze. Proud of their son, Brady Breeze. Breezing by to block a punt. Love to the right to Barnes. Picks up another catch with Benji Franklin there.
And, you know, really valuable reps for Josh Love. I mean, this is their backup right now, and knock on wood, should something happen in the first quarter of a playoff game, you need your backup to go and win the game for you.
Yeah, small sample size, but he's not afraid to sling it.
No, and they're valuable. You get out there, the lights are on, it's a real game, you know, and it's not a preseason game, which is completely different with different personnel. These are starters against starters.
Racking up the field goals all of a sudden this season. Yeah, he went over 600 and recently passed Troy Westwood in the all-time list. Moving up that one, gets another 3 there, 44-7. I think we can hand this one to the Calgary Stampeders.
Butt kicking chicken.
Yeah. 10.
haven't seen many of these this year,
enough.
But
yeah. So 10-7, along with BC winning last night over Edmonton. So with Winnipeg winning at 9-8, right now they stand in 4th. They're all guaranteed playoff spots after the Elks lost. But we go into the final weekend, and even for the Bombers, got some possibilities here if there's a 3-way tie. But for Winnipeg, it would take both the Stampeders and the Lions to lose next week for that possibility. The games matter next week. That's your bottom line. Max Duggan.
Well, and how much did Corey Mays watching this game tonight? You know, if he got through last game, and Trevor Harris didn't even play in that game.
They rested a lot of players.
Yeah, AJ Ouellette was another one, and if he was thinking coming out, you know, I should get him half a game or a quarter in that final game of the regular season, just to be a little bit sharper going into the playoff game, because we got a bye, so a week off, and then saw Vernon Adams in this game get the hip a little bit. Maybe that changes the thinking. I mean,
well, those are the questions. And I tell you how how Trevor Harris would feel about that kind of thing. But I mean, the players want to play.
Yeah,
right?
you can't ask them. Don't ask the player. Because I guarantee you, it doesn't matter. He's going to say, no, I want to play. So and put me on the special teams and whatever. Yeah. But it's different philosophies. For me, I'd rather have rest and if there's a little rust in a drive or two, fine. We'll work our way through that. Hopefully, if our D, keeps us in it. If it's an offensive guy, you're resting. But I just, Mark Trestman would rest Anthony Calvillo. He was big on that. And it looks like VA is going to be okay, although he's not walking completely smoothly there.
Still favoring it a little bit, but these two head coaches tonight can both relate. 2016 Calgary Stampeders had about 4 or 5 weeks that they had clinched the whole rest versus rust argument for Dave Dickinson and his first year's head coach. Ryan Dinwiddie was on that staff, and it was just a couple of years ago when they went 16-2, Dinwiddie and the Argos, they still had a third of the season to go, and they'd already clinched first place, and that was a difficult decision in terms of who you rest and who you let play, and obviously that amount of time, you got to play some.
Well, when you're talking about other players, I memean, it's a different conversation for a lot of the other players, because whether it's an A.J. Ouellette or whomever, or even a Diedrich Mills, when it's them, you don't have very many options. I mean, there's the Canadian ratio you're dealing with. It's limited rosters. There's only 42 on the roster. You've got you've only got so many players, and there's injuries that you're talking about. Unless a player is really nicked up and could use that extra week or two rest, like the receivers in Saskatchewan, Keyshawn Johnson. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide. And
as said, though, the exception of Saskatchewan, there is something to play for. Obviously, Edmonton out now, but for the other three, for Calgary, for BC, for Winnipeg, there is something to play for.
Yeah, for sure. So you go with your guys when there is. But how long if it's a score like this?
Right.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
And you can't play trying not to get injured. You can't do that. Because that's exactly when you will get trying to protect yourself.
Well, hopefully nothing bad for Vernon Adams. Still a little bit of a limp, but my goodness, here's Paredes again coming out trying another one. Someone looking to rack up the field goals after a quieter first half. Blue try, 50 yards away, and that time he misses off to his right. Janarian Grant bringing it out. 3.5 minutes to go. Grant taken down at the 5. Gillon Thomas in on that tackle, and the first miss for Rene Paredes. Now 3 for 4.
But the good news for Calgary is their defense is back and their quarterback's got that sweat, that confidence back.
And by his own admission, said he was missing that confidence a bit a few weeks ago during the 4-game slide. Certainly showing a lot of it tonight.
But this is when VA is at his best. He's having fun. He's out there with his teammates. One of the great leaders in the game. He's going to get his 10 wins, goal number 2 accomplished. As Tom mentioned in the first half, goal 1 for VA was 10 wins, and they were talking this as a team with him. Goal 1, 10 wins, got that with this win. Goal 2, make the playoffs. Had that just before this game started because of the Edmonton loss. So they knew they were in the playoffs, and now the third goal is a championship.
I'm sure he'd love another shot at the BC Lions, too.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Vernon Adams Jr. Calgary's playoff bound. We already knew that, but where will they finish? So they have a chance to get back here at McMahon to host a playoff game. Max Duggan, quarterback for the Argos, and just takes off as time winding down. 3-minute warning is issued now. Final 3 minutes or less for the Argos this season. Calgary Stampeders looking to lock up that 10th win. Told you about Friday Night Football next week, and 2 more games after that, too, on Saturday. A couple of doubleheaders next weekend to wrap up the regular season. There is meaning here. Red Blacks, Tiger Cats there is for Hamilton. Stampeders in Edmonton. And then the Saturday, the Owls and Blue Bombers. That depends on what happens in Hamilton the night before. And the Lions and the Rough Riders. BC, Calgary, and Winnipeg have all made the playoffs, but they got to figure out who gets to host that West semifinal. Who's going to be crossing over to either Montreal or Hamilton?
There could be a scenario where Winnipeg crosses over, goes back.
Here we go. Go ahead.
Plays against Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure how they'll do the locker room thing if that scenario unfolded.
Cross that bridge when you come to it. But you know,
if they had to get moved out of their home locker room because they went through the East, that would be interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what, right now, the way things have been for the Bombers and the uncertainty, the Riders they're 1 win away from getting to Winnipeg. But I think a Bomber fan, even if their team had to use the visitors' dressing room, would take it right now. They had to cross over. And imagine that. Those 2 teams met in the 07 Grey Cup in Toronto. And so they have met in the Grey Cup before. But that's, we'll call it. It's less of a possibility, I would say, but it's still one of many possibilities here getting into the playoffs.
And how about BC? And how hot they are.
They are 5 wins in a row and looking great. And they finish their regular season in Saskatchewan next week.
And when I think of BC, I think that this will be the week coming up that the ballots come out. I'm sure you're voting. I don't vote till the second round after the nominees from the teams are decided, from the local media. But that's the All-Star teams, the most outstanding player award nominees from each team. I still think that would be a change that I would be okay with.
Yeah.
Which would be
instead of a nominee from each division.
Yeah, instead of nominees from the division, just the top. If you're looking at MOP, it's the top 3 guys in the league. It doesn't matter what division.
Right.
I think with the divisional discussion shouldn't be part of the award discussion. But another time for another discussion, another day in the. But I'll tell you what, it's been a pretty good 3-year run for that guy in this team. Now they're going to have to rebuild, and they're going to have Chad Kelly back next year. He's under contract. They will also have Nick Arbuckle back next year, who is also under contract.
Interesting scenario looking ahead to 2026. Ryan Dinwiddie, who had been coaching in Calgary as the quarterback's coach for Dave Dickinson, flags out in that short yardage play under 2 minutes to go. But Dinwiddie got a chance to become a head coach out of the pandemic with the Argos at 21. They finished first in the East. They got knocked off by Hamilton in the East final. The next year, they finished first, and they went to the Grey Cup, and they beat Winnipeg. The next year, they went 16-2, got upset by the Alouettes in the East final. Then last year, returned the favor in Montreal after finishing second, and won the Grey Cup again. So 4 years heading into this season, 2 Grey Cup championships and sandwich in between, a tie for one of the greatest regular seasons in history.
Well, I just look at those end results. I mean, 2 of the last 3 years, they're champions.
Yeah.
And
offside, Calgary, number 90. 5-yard penalty, first down, Toronto.
It's Kyle Wilson limping off now for the Stampeders and getting a little bit of help. And by the way, these are the defending Grey Cup champions not making the playoffs. And the last time it happened, it was the Toronto Argonauts, who won under Mark Trestman in 2017 over Calgary when Shania Twain did the halftime show.
And it all comes full circle.
It all comes full circle. She was here tonight. And the next year, they won only 4 games, missed the playoffs. And took a few years, but they brought in Dinwiddie, and they came back. And they got some work to do to get back now. And they finish up their regular season.
So Dietrich Mills has added to his lead in the rushing title. 1 week to go. The Argos have a bye the final week, so they're done after this game tonight. But Dietrich Mills will have that one more game against Edmonton.
And it's now a 155-yard lead over James Butler, the BC Lions, heading into their final games. And A.J. Ouellette had been in the mix up until this, did not play, though, so didn't have a chance in Winnipeg last night to add to his totals. So to get back to your point, we're talking quarterbacks, but of other players, how many reps will he get with Saskatchewan when they've already clinched first in the West?
Yeah, there's the updated numbers, and there's the lead that Dedrick Mills has. It's like he will be the guy to take the title this year, but that sort of leads me. We saw the great shot of Dedrick Mills and Vernon Adams standing together. There was a time when Vernon Adams, we were talking about the first third of the season as the early runaway leader for MOP. Now it's going to be an interesting decision. Dedrick Mills likely coming out of Calgary as a nominee.
I would think so. Might be a quarterback at BC who gets a couple of votes too.
Well, well, I think the front runners for MOP right now are Bo Levi Mitchell and Nathan Rourke. As great a season as Dedrick has had.
And as I say, credit to Bo, who's known well in these parts, of course. A lot of success with the Stampeders, but resurgent certainly with the Hamilton Tiger Cats in 2025.
Well, both are very deserving, and this is always, when we get to this discussion, it's always like you don't, there he goes again.
It's Herdman Herslow Part 2. Did it against Ottawa many weeks ago at a big hurdle, and another completion too for Max Duggan.
Well, let's follow him and watch this play from Herslow. Saw that earlier. Goes on his out, and knowing that DBs are going to go low, he's got that down, doesn't he?
I've been lobbying for a hurdle reel this year. Grey Cup week. Somebody, just maybe our panel can do that. Just go to reel. It seems like they've not seen this year. There've been more hurdles than we've seen in the CFL in a long time.
Yeah.
Calgary is challenging the previous play for offensive pass interference. Play will be reviewed.
I guess you have to continue to respond as a coach or a player like it always matters, and do what you would do what you would normally do. But I think with this kind of lead, I'm not sure Dave Dickinson had to challenge this.
Well, it also it looked like a bit of a push off. If he gets the OPI, it also negates the Herslow hurdle Part 2. But we still saw it. It still happened.
Well, these guys, but they're so wired in, I mean, it's like, no, I'm coaching the way I would normally coach no matter what. And it looked like it was a bit of a push.
It did look like a push.
So that's why, it's a legitimate sort of, in any other circumstance, if it's a one-possession game, he's absolutely doing it.
Well, if we do put together a hurdle reel, it still should be on it anyway.
Yeah, we'll put it on there.
Yeah.
Why let the facts get in the way of a good story? I don't think the facts matter in today's day and age anymore in a lot of ways. Get some good hang time, too. He's up over top.
First, I'm going to push you down, catch the ball, and then I'm going to jump over you.
It was almost like the rabbit that went across the goal line.
Justin McInnes, the referee, replay center, has had a review with a challenge.
After review by the replay center, we have offensive pass interference, Toronto, number 87. It's 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
So Dave Dickinson going, I won the challenge.
Darn right.
Yeah. Consistency.
Yeah. In-game coaching right to the end.
Every message matters. Every decision matters. And if that's the message, and it always is from coaches to players, then you got to do it as a coach too.
Exactly, right through until the end.
As broadcasters and an audience, unnecessary challenge.
Are you saying we're not giving it right to the end here? I thought you were going to allude to our effort here in these final moments.
We're working at it.
Let's still bring it. Max Duggan.
Here's a deep shot.
There he is. He's got Herslow, and that counts. And out of bounds for Jake Herslow after his hurdle that didn't count and gets that one. And Max Duggan, I mean, it's mop-up time, but
plays, sure.
10 for 13 now.
Yeah, mop-up time is right, and that means that the DBs are playing off. And Dickinson goes, oh, okay.
There you go. There you go. Took your other one away, but you got me there. All right.
So was that an official Dave Dickinson smile,
It
too?
looked like it.
Like 44-7 was what you need to get a Dave Dickinson smile.
You talk about the VA goals to make the playoffs. That was clinched last night. And they're getting their 10th win. There's Spencer Brown. And a nice tackle there by Micah Tights, product of the University of Calgary, to take Brown down.
Herslow turns and immediately after the catch says, see, you challenged the last one. I'll just come back and do it again. He was talking to Dave Dickinson at the time.
He did get a smile out of the Stampeders head coach, Dave Dickinson, there. And that 10th win is done officially soon, but Max Duggan still on the run. He had a big 30-yard run earlier in this half, but 39 seconds on the clock. Calgary Stampeders getting their 10th win, 10-7 record, so 2 straight wins after their 4-game slide, and they still have a chance to host a playoff game. BC Lions with the same record. Winnipeg, as said, could be in the mix if the Stamps and the Lions lose, although in a 3-way tie, that would be Calgary getting second place. Spencer Brown, and a touchdown for Toronto late in this game, right at the end. First touchdown of this game for the Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah, one of those. What do we call it in the panel?
Yards after beatdown.
Yeah.
Yards.
Fancy shirt. It's got yards after beatdown, and we'll talk about that.
Fancy shirt.
Yeah, fancy shirt.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, good on Mill.
Yeah, what
job, man.
What did he say about you at halftime?
He said that was messed up.
That was messed up. And then he walked off.
Hey,
Milt just might be gone.
Get back there, Milt, man. We need you back there on the panel.
Gotta get back. Going for 2.
Nice job.
Absolutely. Well, Brown again. This time doesn't get there. Going for 2. 25 seconds on the clock. 44-13, and that's what's left of the Argonaut season now for Dedrick Mills, the Calgary Stampeders, Vernon Adams, off to Commonwealth in Edmonton next week. And we can say that every single game in the final week of the regular season at this point has meaning in terms of playoff position.
Well, Adrian Green, we said off the top, there's starting at the wide corner, and Delaney Robinson in the boundary. 2 Canadian corners. We as a crew tried to think the last time that happened in the Canadian Football League.
After the play, we have a 15-yard misconduct penalty against Toronto number 61. Calgary will kick off.
Yeah,
Toronto
unnecessary
will kick off,
on that too. But you know, when we actually were digging into this, trying to find when was the last time that 2 Canadians started at corners. Couldn't find them, so that might be a first. And I thought they played well. I mean, Adrian Green had that pick 6 right under the gate, and then a couple of knockdowns. And Delaney Robinson, we didn't really talk about because he was in the boundary, but they weren't able to take advantage of him. Now, again, we know that how deep they are in the depth chart with quarterbacks in Toronto, but good for him. Out of the U of R, who are 5-1. I'm not sure how they did it, and I think they were playing at the U of A tonight, but 5-1 going into that game. Former teammate of mine and coach with the Rams this year, Vincent Donaldson. Remember Vincent?
Right, Vincent Donaldson. Yeah. Remember him well. Canadian College ball. Nice tackle there by Stephen Smith.
Their only loss, University of Regina Rams, was against the Huskies up in Saskatoon. Scott Flory's group.
Another nice rivalry in Canadian University ball. And speaking of Saskatchewan, Stephen Smith, you saw 34 of the Argos with the tackle from U of S Huskies.
Yeah.
And yeah, late in the season on the road to the Vanier Cup for the university teams. Victory formation. Final home game of the regular season for the Calgary Stampeders. Still hoping they can have one more in the West semifinal, to be determined next week. The BC Lions are in charge of that one. They can wrap up second place if they do get a victory in Saskatchewan. But if they don't, Calgary playing in Edmonton. And the Stampeders, they know they're in the postseason. That's the biggest thing that matters. As the defending Grey Cup champions bow out, their season is over. Final score: the Stampeders, and Vernon Adams Jr. still with a little limp. Diedrich Mills, what a game, defeating the Toronto Argonauts 44-13.
And we will have a different Grey Cup champion in 2025. The Argos are done.
And Adams, talk about his goals. That is the third one. Embrace there for Jarrett Dagey, but it was make the playoffs, get 10 wins, win a championship. Getting closer to the games that will decide who plays for the Grey Cup 1 month from now. One more week in the regular season. It comes to an end, starting with Friday Night Football, a doubleheader next Friday night, and then 2 more on Saturday to wrap up the regular season. Here we are at the very end, and we still have questions to answer. Stampeders, they're dancing. Till next week in Edmonton. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night. So long.